Chapter 146. At 5:30 in the morning, Toru Watanabe opened his eyes and sat up while rubbing his hair. A dissatisfied voice came from beside him. Toru Watanabe looked over. Miki Kujo was curled up under the blanket with only her head exposed. Her messy black hair was spread over the sheets and pillow. "You're awake," Toru Watanabe said as he pulled up the blanket again and leaned over Miki Kujo's body. His body was pressed against her porcelain-like smooth skin. He stroked her sleepy head with his hand. As if seeking warmth, Miki Kujo also leaned into his arms. The temperature under the blanket was higher than usual. It was very comfortable. After enjoying it for a while, Toru Watanabe sighed, lifted the blanket, and sat up again. "What?" Miki Kujo complained as she reached out and hugged him. After forcing him back into the blanket, she pressed her face against his chest in satisfaction. The soft touch passed to Toru Watanabe's body through the pajamas. He patted Miki Kujo's snow-white shoulder lightly and said in her ear, "Miki, I'm going to go for my morning exercise." Miki Kujo replied in a sleepy voice. Toru Watanabe had no choice but to hug her waist and sleep for a while. When the morning light shone into the room, he knew that he couldn't go on like this. He turned over and pressed Miki Kujo under his body and curled up under the blanket. Miki Kujo's long eyelashes trembled slightly. She opened her eyes sleepily and saw a big bump on her chest under the blanket. "What are you doing so early in the morning?" She lifted the blanket and complained to the person under it. "Morning exercise." Toru Watanabe's voice was dull, as if there was something in it. Miki Kujo wanted to raise her head, but her body was too heavy. After struggling for a while, she gave up. He covered himself with the blanket again, closed his eyes, and continued to sleep. His fingers reached into Toru Watanabe's hair. "You're so heavy. Get up." Miki Kujo slapped Toru Watanabe, who was sniffing her neck. Because it was comfortable, Toru Watanabe put all his weight on her. Although it wasn't the first time, it was really heavy. All right. Toru Watanabe got out of bed and walked to the window. The weather was very good, and the clear autumn blue sky came into view. He was satisfied and stretched his body, feeling refreshed. As the seasons changed, the blankets became softer and softer. Waking up in the morning also became more painful. "Good morning." "Good morning. Are you still asleep?" "Yes, I'm exhausted. But I just need to persevere for 2 more days." The members of the blowing section said good morning to each other, chatted, and took out their respective instruments to prepare for practice. Some members were focused on practicing the theme song. Different instruments played the March for Endless Dreams, and mixed them together in the music room. In the middle of the room, the trombone section and the horn section were playing the parts that needed to be improved. In the corner, the members of the B section were seriously practicing the basics. In the upper bass section, Masahi pulled out the horn tube of the upper bass section and poured the condensed water into the bucket. She had been practicing for a long time. While she was cleaning up, she looked at the bassoon's oboe section. The oboe hadn't arrived yet. Toru Watanabe wasn't always the second to come to the music room, but he was always the first. Today was the first time. "Senpai, what's wrong?" Aoya Chiki noticed Masahi's gaze. Masahi gently shook her head and didn't say anything. Toru Watanabe walked into the music room at 8:30 when the ensemble started. It only took a few minutes to take the tram from Kanda to Shiya Station, and the exercise didn't take much time. Where did the time go? Could it be that the morning exercise in bed was longer than he thought? Toru Watanabe decided to reflect on it. Next time, he must shorten the time. Forget it, I'll just change it to waking up earlier. Before the ensemble, let's tune one side. Oboe. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe put the whistle in his mouth and blew out a long and precise interval. The other instruments slowly followed, and the resonance made the water in the bottle ripple. They practiced until 10:15. Even though it was already October and the highest temperature was only 20 degrees, even Rin Kiyono, who was the conductor, began to sweat. "You've worked hard. Take a break." The second round of practice will start at 10:30. Yes. Toru Watanabe stretched his hands toward the ceiling and stretched his body. Kuan Watanabe, you're late today. Are you tired from the sports festival? Kaoru Hayami, who was sitting next to him, asked softly. The dark red bassoon was on his skirt. No, the bed in the morning was too comfortable. Toru Watanabe twisted his neck and replied. In this kind of weather, I really want to sleep a little longer. Kaoru Hayami's eyes lingered on his bony hands. After the second round of practice, Toru Watanabe returned to the Human Observation Department for lunch. Rin Kiyono sat by the window, holding chopsticks in one hand and flipping through the music score in the other. The record player next to her was still playing March for Endless Dreams. I say, you're too serious. Toru Watanabe sat down in his seat and looked at the record player. Can you really hear where it's playing? Rin Kiyono sighed and put the broccoli she had been eating for a long time into her mouth. You played the free song, 4 Seasons of Prosperity, so it's not a problem. But the theme song. Rin Kiyono paused. It'll take another month to reach a level that I'm satisfied with. I think it's already very good. It's not enough. Rin Kiyono looked at the notes on the sheet. With their current level, they only have a 70% chance of winning the national gold medal. If the judges think that it's Kamigawa's first time in a national competition, it's not a bad thing to win the silver medal, but the chances of winning the gold medal will be even lower. Toru Watanabe listened to her and asked curiously, Our goal? Isn't the Human Observation Department's goal to help the wind ensemble enter the national competition? It'll be good if we can win the gold medal, but it doesn't matter if we don't, right? Rin Kiyono glanced at him. I know you don't have big dreams, but I didn't expect you to be so unambitious. I'm sorry for being so unambitious. Thank you for the carbon dioxide you give me every day. Humans inhaled oxygen and exhaled carbon dioxide through their nose. When humans breathed, they inhaled 0.32% carbon dioxide. Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono spent most of their time in the club's classrooms, so they would definitely breathe in the carbon dioxide exhaled by each other. Rin Kiyono immediately understood what he meant. He was saying that she didn't give birth to him, didn't raise him, and didn't even reimburse him for his paywalls. She didn't have the right to ask him to be ambitious. Do you need me to explain to you the rights of a minister and a consultant? Iwate Prefecture, Watanabe Village. The goal is to win the national gold medal. Work hard from now on. Toru Watanabe mustered up a little bit of his spirit. Rin Kiyono couldn't take it anymore and closed the sheet. She didn't want to look at it anymore. Did Kujo-san teach you a lesson last night? Is that why you're mentally unstable? That's right. Is your family's mental sanatorium still free of charge for me? Rin Kiyono looked at him in surprise. Her hand that wasn't holding chopsticks rested on her chin as she pondered. It's strange that she didn't give you any trouble. Looking at Rin Kiyono, who was thinking by herself, Toru Watanabe patted the beach table. Reza-san, please listen carefully to what others are saying instead of using your ability to cheat. Quiet, Rin Kiyono said in a bad mood. You've been disturbing my listening to music since just now. The needle of the record player moved up and down slightly. The vinyl record that looked like a biscuit tin lid rotated. The unique melody of March for Endless Dreams spilled out of the activity classroom and into the deserted hallway on Saturday. So you can really hear? Why else would I let it out? In addition to detecting lies, you also have the ability to multitask. I've lost. Toru Watanabe covered his face with both hands. He looked lost. You really want to beat me? Rin Kiyono was also surprised. I underestimated you, Watanabe-san. You have a dream that's even more amazing than winning the national gold medal 3 years in a row. Why 3 years in a row? Isn't that too simple? How many years do you want to study in high school? Can't I join the piano club in university? Toru Watanabe said confidently. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Rin Kiyono picked up a small mouthful of rice with her chopsticks. Although he wanted to say that he won the national gold medal once, but to haggle over every little thing with a woman and be arrogant in front of them was really not something a Tokyo handsome guy would do. The two stopped talking and watched as she began to eat. Toru Watanabe also took out his lunchbox. "Do you want fried chicken?" Rin Kiyono tried to ask. "You don't want to eat? I'll get fat if I eat too much." "You're afraid of getting fat with your body? Don't joke around," Toru Watanabe said. "Preparedness leads to success, and unpreparedness leads to failure. Do you need me to explain this to you? Please give me fried chicken. I haven't eaten breakfast yet." Rin Kiyono picked up the fried chicken on a toothpick and placed it in Toru Watanabe's eel lunchbox. Toru Watanabe put the fried chicken in his mouth. As he chewed, he inadvertently looked out the window. White clouds were embedded in the blue sky. The train rumbled past Shiya Station and disappeared along the tracks into the jungle of tall buildings. It was very bright outside. When he looked into the distance, his eyes hurt slightly. The last day of training passed in the blink of an eye. The next day, October 25th, Sunday. After the morning practice, the piano club took the school bus to Nagoya City in Aichi Prefecture. It took a surprisingly long time. They left at noon and only arrived at the hotel they booked at 4 in the afternoon. Kamigawa didn't choose an expensive hotel. In order to facilitate pre-competition practice, they took the geographical location into consideration and booked a relatively simple hotel that had a concert hall. It was said that in order to open up the business of hosting participating schools, they used the money originally used to renovate the hotel to renovate the concert hall. After the 2011 earthquake, the venue of the competition was changed to the Nagoya International Conference Center. As soon as they arrived at the hotel, everyone automatically moved their luggage into their rooms. According to the arrangement, the girls were assigned to bunks according to their school year. Because there were fewer boys, they were all squeezed into one bunk. They took off their shoes and walked into the room covered in tatami mats. Without the girls, the boys instantly became lively. "I'll sleep in the corner. Don't fight with me. Oh no, I forgot to bring facial cleanser. Does anyone have it? Want to buy it together later? I didn't bring a toothbrush either." Apart from life, there were also girls' topics that couldn't be left out. "Watanabe, can we see Reina tomorrow?" That's right. This time we want an autograph too. You guys, don't scare her." Toru Watanabe hurriedly took out his cell phone charger from his bag and charged it in the corner. After playing games for 5 hours, his cell phone's battery was already red. He had to switch to power saving mode to prevent it from shutting down. "What do you mean by scaring her? We're her fans. We're not doing anything." "That's right. Watanabe only wants to monopolize Reina, right? I won't allow you to monopolize such a beautiful girl." "I say," Toru Watanabe put down his cell phone and began to pack his luggage. "I'm only doing this because I admire Reina's trumpet playing skills. You're always staring at her appearance. Aren't you shallow? As if I'd believe you, you sly I-Wait prefectural citizen. You dare to look down on I-Wait prefecture? Nagata, you brought poker cards, didn't you? Tonight, I'll let you know the wrath of I-Wait prefecture." "Who's afraid of who? The loser can go to the girls' dorm and ask for snacks." "Are you serious? Forget it, you'll definitely be scolded by the teacher." "It's precisely because you'll be scolded that it's a punishment." From Lena to going to the girls' dorm to ask for snacks, and then discussing the possibility of pretending to go to the wrong bathhouse, if it weren't for the messages in the group urging them to hurry up and practice at the concert hall, the boys probably would have really thought that this was a study trip. Kyoto, Hokuyu Province. A warm autumn morning. "Have you confirmed the instruments? We're leaving." "Yes." Kumiko answered loudly. After confirming the instruments, she jumped out of the truck. She ran to the bus, where Lena had already saved a seat for her. Kumiko sat down next to Lena, crossed her legs, and skillfully took off her shoes while yawning loudly. "You're already sleepy?" Lena was surprised to see her actions, and noticed that tears had begun to appear at the corners of her eyes. "Yeah," Kumiko answered weakly. "You didn't sleep last night?" I did, but I'm still sleepy. Kumiko's body fell down, and her head pressed against Lena's large chest. The bus slowly started moving towards Hokuyu Province's main gate. After getting on the highway, it gradually picked up speed. Lena, you didn't sleep? Yeah. Kumiko answered lazily. Why did Detsuk look for you? You know. Lena said somewhat shyly, I've decided to go abroad. I want to go to a music university abroad. Go abroad? Kumiko sat up and looked at Lena's eyes under her slender eyelashes. Yes, but before that, I'm going to Tokyo. Tokyo? To find that person for revenge? Lena was stunned, admiring her good friend's imagination. What does it have to do with that pervert? I'm going to a women's university in the suburbs of Musashino. My father knows the teachers there. It's a school famous for its English. I'm going there to study for a year to prepare for going abroad. Going abroad, Kumiko muttered to herself, looking at the window behind Lena. The unfamiliar scenery constantly changed, and her face on the window was young and at a loss. For Kumiko, who only went on a long trip this time to Oriichi Prefecture, going abroad and graduating from high school were very distant things. What about you, Kumiko? There's no way to go abroad, but I'll also go to that women's university. I want to continue being with you. Kumiko retracted her gaze. Lena's eyes flashed, and she couldn't help but hold her friend's face with both hands. Kumiko, you don't have to do this. Kumiko quietly shook her head, and pressed her forehead against Lena's. When I'm good at English, I can become an English teacher, and then go back to Hokuyu to become a consultant for the piano department. Yeah, when I return, I'll definitely be a judge for the national competition. Lena said. Kumiko sat up straight, and said seriously, remember to give Hokuyu an A directly. Of course not. Lena refused without hesitation, adding, unless Kumiko begs me the night before. The two laughed softly, and leaned their heads together. So silly. No way, such a future. We'll definitely realize it. Yeah, if Lena says it will happen, then it will definitely happen. Silly, I'm not a god, I still have to work hard. If there's a god in the world, it must be Lena. Kumiko rubbed her cheek against Lena's face. Chapter 147. He meticulously corrected every imperfection and gradually improved the degree of completion of the performance. Then, today's practice is over. Thank you for your hard work. You can continue to practice, but please do not affect tomorrow's game. Yes. The practice the day before the game was mainly to adjust the details, such as the volume ratio and position of each instrument, whether the interval was out of place, whether the rhythm could keep up, and so on. In order to avoid exhaustion, Rin Kiyono finished practice earlier than usual. It was only 7:30 in the evening. Everyone was going to have dinner first, and then decide whether to continue practice or go back to the dormitory to rest or play cards. This is a hotel that specializes in the business of participating schools, and the restaurant is naturally amazing. Toru Watanabe heard that there was another school that also lived here, but he didn't see them now. They were probably still practicing in the concert hall, and their arrival and dinner time were different. The dinner was arranged by Rin Kiyono, and no one was allowed to eat any special food, and they could eat anything in Tokyo. Although everyone was very regretful, they had no objection to this decision, except Toru Watanabe. What do you think I came to Nagoya for? Game. Rin Kiyono picked up a piece of salmon with chopsticks and replied perfunctorily. It's for Panglai Pavilion's Eel Sancha, which is the most famous eel restaurant in Nagoya, with a history of more than 140 years. Eel Sancha. Aona Koizumi, who acted as the accompanying teacher, showed a curious expression. The so-called sancher actually refers to 3 steps. First, put the eel rice in a bowl and taste the delicious eel and sauce, then mix in seaweed, hemp, and green basil to enjoy the refreshing taste. Finally, add chopped green onions, wasabi, and hot soup to make eel tea rice. It sounds delicious. I want to try it. Not only that, teacher, but also miso pork chop. Nagoya's unique red sauce is poured on the freshly fried pork chop, which is a unique way to eat in Nagoya. The taste and thickness of the sauce are different from store to store. I saw online recommendations for Yamakura store, which is said to be quite chewy. What's a straw chop? The name is strange. Is it wrapped in clean straw shoes? The so-called straw shoe pig. Toru Watanabe classmate. Rin Kiyono's slightly cold voice interrupted the exchange between the teacher and student. I'm sorry. Toru Watanabe nodded solemnly before eating the grilled fish in front of him. The white fish was very thick, and the skin was golden and crispy. It was very delicious, but you could eat it anywhere in Japan. I want 3 eels, and I want the straw sandals pork chop. Toru Watanabe, whose heart was filled with anger, ate a large piece of fish in one bite. After finishing his meal and leaving the cafeteria, he could hear a large group of people walking towards the cafeteria. It seemed that the other school had finished their practice. Toru Watanabe took advantage of this time to hurry to the bathroom to take a shower, so that he wouldn't even be able to grab the faucet. He wasn't the only one who had such thoughts. More girls even started running, pushing and shoving each other, giggling as they returned to the dormitory to get a change of clothes and toiletries. After showering, the boys gathered in a circle to play cards. Come to think of it, although we have a competition tomorrow, we don't have to go to school. It's also a kind of happiness. We can even use the excuse of relaxing to play cards openly. I just took a picture and sent it to the class group. They're so jealous, ha ha ha. But I want to study more. The national mock exam last time. You bastard. Don't say such disappointing things. Do you know how to read the air? Toru Watanabe lost 2 rounds, and once again realized how bad his luck was. He hurriedly said that he needed to go to the bathroom and took the opportunity to slip away. Going to the girls' dormitory to ask for snacks was interesting and worth a try. However, he was now a married man, so he didn't do anything too frivolous. Miki Kujo wasn't a gentle girl. He went to the leisure area on the first floor of the hotel. There was a billiard table for playing American billiards, a coin-operated massage chair, a few sofas, and the indispensable vending machine. There was an old poster on the wall. It was a picture of Yamaguchi Mo, one of the 3 Showa singers, along with Matsuda Masako. Toru Watanabe bought a bottle of milk and asked for a billiard table. He was going to play with himself until everyone in the dormitory fell asleep. There was no one on the first floor of the hotel except for the ticking of the clock at the front desk. Occasionally, there would be the sound of his balls colliding with the balls. Very good. Brother, you must be good at math. You're flattering me. You must be good at physics as well. Toru Watanabe, who had hit all the balls into holes, was the winner no matter what. As he drank his milk, he entertained himself. When he took the balls back to the table one by one, a familiar figure appeared in the hall. It was Rin Kiyono. Usually, only the female lead would be able to escape from a group activity and meet the male lead, allowing the plot to progress smoothly. Just kidding. What's wrong, Kiyono? You can't stay here anymore? This was the real reason. Rin Kiyono was taking out a bottle from the vending machine when she heard the voice. She looked over with a disdainful expression. She walked to the billiard table and watched Toru Watanabe set the table. She had put on a thick sweater before going out in this weather, but he was wearing a short-sleeved shirt and shorts. She felt cold just by looking at him. How to fix the cue with the 5 fingers, the distance from the cue, the angle of the feet, and so on. The key was to bend the waist as far as possible and raise the butt high enough. Your head has to be perpendicular to the cue. Keep your eyes on the ball and the cue, and then find the right angle to hit the ball. Understand? Bull**T. Why are you in such a weird posture? Nothing. Lies. Aha. Toru Watanabe stood up straight and said as if nothing had happened. It's boring to just play. How about the loser treat us to supper? There's a udon noodle shop not far away. Udon noodle won't hurt my stomach. I agree. As she spoke, Rin Kiyono had already hit the white ball. Turn off the lights. Okay. The room darkened. Kumiko buried herself in the blanket and tried hard to fall asleep. However, Even when the blanket was warm, she still didn't feel sleepy. On the wall, the ticking of the second hand of the clock was too noisy. Kumiko knew that the clock wasn't the reason. She wasn't used to sleeping in a place other than her own home. Because of this, she didn't sleep at all during the summer training. But it was also because of this that she was able to seize the opportunity to establish a good relationship with Kazuka-senpai, who also didn't sleep. I can't sleep. Kumiko sat up angrily. No matter how much she thought about it, she still didn't feel sleepy. Since she couldn't sleep, she decided to go downstairs and buy a hot drink. She had done the same the night before the Kansai tournament, and had successfully entered the country. Perhaps it was fate that she couldn't sleep this time. It was hinting that as long as she bought a hot drink, the same miracle would happen in tomorrow's tournament. Because she cared too much about the tournament, Kumiko put on her jacket with such superstitious thoughts. Kumiko? Kumiko was so scared that her whole body stiffened. She looked over with her eyes that were used to the darkness. Lena propped herself up and looked at her. Oh, it's Lena. You scared me. What's wrong? Did I wake you up? Kumiko asked softly. No, I didn't sleep either. Where are you going? I can't sleep, so I want to buy a hot drink to see if it'll help me sleep. It was better to keep that superstitious reason in mind. I'll go with you. With that, Lena lifted the quilt and picked up the coat that was placed on the side. The two of them walked out of the bunk room hand in hand and went to the first floor. It was very quiet, apart from the faint sounds of the billiards room. Did you see that? Band-aids? You won with an unfair advantage. You took advantage of the situation and took advantage of the situation. Didn't someone say it himself? This is my first time. Don't be so smug. 6 wins out of 10. You're still far from winning. At first, it was 2 wins out of 3. Later, it was 3 wins out of 5. But forget it. Hurry up and set up the billiards. Only by exercising more can we eat supper. You think you've won? My true abilities are still. The two girls were slightly uneasy. Someone who was still playing billiards in the middle of the night was probably not a good person. Plus, they were in the unfamiliar Nagoya. Lena whispered, "How about we go outside and drink?" Yeah. Kumiko nodded. It was already 11 o'clock at night. The streets were filled with silence. The sound of shoes rubbing against the ground was shocking. The unfamiliar night scene in the distance, the lights were dotted with stars, a bit like the color of musical instruments. The two of them walked to a park that they passed by in the afternoon on the bus. It was very small. There were only benches, a sandpit, and 2 swings. Under the night streetlights, it seemed very lonely. Kumiko and Lena looked at each other and smiled at the same time as they walked to the swing that seemed to have been prepared for them. Kumiko sat on it and opened the can of drink. She drank while slightly swinging the swing. Her toes unconsciously straightened, and her slippers slipped off her feet and fell to the ground. Lena was very obedient. She covered the still hot can with both hands and sat quietly on the swing. This seemed to make her very satisfied. There was silence for a while. I want to win the gold award. Lena looked at the night sky of Nagoya and suddenly said, Me too. Kumiko whispered. We must win the gold award. Yeah. Even if we can't win this time, next year, or the year after, I won't give up. No matter how long it takes, I'll support you. Kumiko stopped the swing and reached out to hold Lena's hand tightly. Lena smiled and looked at Kumiko. When the two of them looked at each other, they suddenly heard a voice. I saw something I shouldn't have. Kumiko and Lena turned around. At the entrance of the park, under the electric pole with the lights on, stood a boy and a girl. The night wind blew through the wild grass in the park. The boy and girl's hair swayed slightly, and they looked at them with eyes brighter than the stars. The two of them were shocked by their appearance and could not react to the scene before them. You don't recognize me? Reina, I'm your fan. Do you remember now? The boy said with a smile. The girl next to him sighed helplessly and rubbed her temples as if she had a headache. Sorry, he's not normal anymore. The girl explained. We're going to eat udon noodles. Do you want to join us? Kumiko and Lena looked at each other. I'm hungry. Me too. Let's go. Yeah. Then sorry to bother you. The two of them stood up together. Ah! Kumiko suddenly screamed, scaring the three of them. What's wrong, Kumiko? Lena immediately asked worriedly. I forgot to take off my shoes and stepped on the ground. Kumiko's depressed voice echoed in the empty park. Chapter 148. After Kumiko wiped the soles of her feet with a paper towel, the girls from Kyoto and Tokyo walked together at night in Nagoya. Prime Minister Watanabe, can I ask you a question? Kumiko held a drink in one hand and covered her collar with the other. The night wind was a bit cold. Secretary Kumiko, I'm not cold. No, not that. Whether you're cold or not has nothing to do with me, right? You're talking to me like that? I'm sorry, Prime Minister. Toru Watanabe snorted arrogantly. Rin Kiyono and Lena looked at each other and found the same helplessness in each other's eyes. Kumiko took a sip of the drink. There was still a bit of warmth left. She quickly drank a few more mouthfuls, wanting to finish it before it became completely cold. Tasting the sweetness in her mouth, she continued, I heard that you went to school in Tokyo from Iwate Prefecture alone. Can you share your life experience? Don't go to Imperial Tea. Toru Watanabe blurted out. Huh? After listening to Kumiko's question, the other two girls who were prepared to listen carefully also showed a puzzled expression like Kumiko. Toru Watanabe's expression was heavy. The coffee shops there always play outdated rock music. Even if they sell coffee with sugar, it's still bitter. Is that so? Kumiko didn't know what to say in response. Be serious. Rin Kiyono said in a bad mood. Okay, you've never seen people from Kyoto. I just want to play with you. We're not monkeys. Kumiko and Lena said in unison. Toru Watanabe pointed at the two of them and said to Rin Kiyono with a smile, See, isn't it interesting? That's rude. Rin Kiyono didn't deny the point that it was interesting. Kumiko. Lena grabbed Kumiko's arm and stared at Toru Watanabe. Let's go back. I'll treat you to udon noodles. Lena was just about to turn around when she said to Kumiko, We're going to have a big meal. Pick something expensive. Isn't that a little inappropriate? So what? Lena tucked her long hair behind her ear and said calmly, Anyway, it was his fault. I didn't give him any trouble about the concert at the station building. It's only right that he treat us to a meal. Kumiko had never seen Lena like this. This Toru Watanabe was really her nemesis. She looked at Rin Kiyono awkwardly. Hey, my secretary, what are you looking at her for? I said it's my treat. Prime Minister Toru Watanabe said unhappily. Rin Kiyono smiled sweetly and nodded, That's good too. Instead of letting him spend money in the game, why not treat him to a meal and apologize for what happened last time? Then we won't stand on ceremony. Ah, here we are, I can already smell the fragrance. Kumiko lifted the cloth curtain and disappeared into the shop. Toru Watanabe said to Rin Kiyono, It's my money, right? Why are you in charge? Are you unhappy about something? Rin Kiyono looked at him calmly. No. Kumiko poked her head out of the shop. Come, I found a seat. The three of them walked into the shop. This was an udon noodle shop called Kawasho. The decor was very strange. It was like a shed made of steel. The pillars were rusty and the walls were decorated with white gloves and safety helmets. There were also news clippings from newspapers and celebrity photos. The stools were also very strange. There were baskets for wine and eggs that were turned upside down for customers to sit on. The only thing in the shop that was classy was the black cushions on the baskets. There were already 2 tables of customers inside. There were both men and women in suits. They seemed to be people who came to the party after work. The 4 of them sat in a corner. Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono naturally sat together. Kumiko sat opposite him while Reina sat opposite Rin Kiyono. This place is so strange. Reina curiously looked around the shop with her big black eyes. I've never been to a shop like this before, and it's 11 o'clock at night. Kumiko said excitedly. Welcome, what would you like to eat? The waiter came over with a pen and paper. Spicy pork chop. Toru Watanabe ordered without looking at the menu. No. Rin Kiyono rejected. Why? Spicy pork chop in Nagoya is different from Tokyo. If you have diarrhea and affect tomorrow's game, can you take responsibility? Why do you think I've been training so far? No matter what you're doing, you can only eat udon noodles for this meal. Rin Kiyono didn't want to waste any more time with him and said directly to the waiter, 2 sets of udon noodles, no side dishes, thank you. Okay. The waiter wrote down the order on a piece of paper. Toru Watanabe picked up the cup of wheat tea on the table and took a sip. The cold liquid slid down his throat and lowered the temperature of his organs. On the other side, 2 girls from Kyoto were struggling with the menu. What should I do? I want to eat flat noodles, and this oyster egg looks delicious too. Kumiko frowned slightly. This assorted hot pot and Odin look good. Reina also frowned and thought seriously. It's okay if you want to eat all of them. Toru Watanabe swirled the cup and took a sip as if the tea was hot. I brought enough money. Then, Reina stretched out her fingers and was about to make up her mind when Rin Kiyono said, You have a game tomorrow, right? It's better to eat Kyoto cuisine. Kyoto cuisine was a cuisine based on Kyoto's taste. The ingredients were seasonal, mainly tofu, bamboo shoots, and vegetables. The taste was light, but the appearance was exquisite. I almost forgot. That was close, Reina. Let's eat udon noodles too. Okay, I'll let him have it this time. After the waiter left, Toru Watanabe said to Rin Kiyono, Reina is Kita Yuji's trumpet solo, and Kumiko is one of the 2 bass trumpets. If they eat something bad, our chances of winning the gold medal will increase by at least 1%. 1%. Don't look down on us. Reina was so angry that she almost slammed the table. Kumiko smiled and poured her a cup of wheat tea. Kumiko, aren't you angry? He must be joking. Don't take it to heart. He's treating us, so I don't mind being criticized. No, if you really want to order something that might cause a stomachache, I won't stop you. I'll gladly pay for it, Toru Watanabe said. He's serious, Rin Kiyono added. Although Kyoto isn't as international as Tokyo, we won't be fooled so easily. You can't fool us, Kumiko said confidently. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono and raised his eyebrows. Is it fun? Be serious. Rin Kiyono rolled her eyes at him, but she didn't deny that it was fun. Oh, Kumiko suddenly remembered what had just happened. Is there anything else we need to pay attention to in Tokyo besides the imperial tea? Why do you ask? Toru Watanabe held the cup with his thumb, index finger, and middle finger, shaking it gently. I'm planning to go to Tokyo University in the future, Kumiko replied. Do you want to come to Tokyo University? I'll take care of you then. No, Tokyo University is a bit. Don't be in a hurry to refuse. Tokyo University's reputation isn't very good. They say things like, cradle of stinking politicians, no one is more old-fashioned than Tokyo University, and so on. I'm going to continue to participate in the flute club in the university. The 2 of us, the Prime Minister's secretary, won 4 consecutive national gold medals, and will be a great story in the future. Aha, cough cough cough, Reina choked on her tea, quickly pulled out a tissue, and angrily stared at the serious Toru Watanabe. Toru Watanabe had a lot to say, so he drank another mouthful of wheat tea. Kumiko gently patted Lena's back to help her breathe. She bitterly smiled and said, Tokyo University is fine, I'm going to a women's university famous for English. I want to be an English teacher. Is that so? Then there's no other way. Aha, thank you for the invitation. If she could go to Tokyo University, would Kumiko not go? Although this girl was good at the oboe and had excellent grades, She was unexpectedly naive and couldn't understand the situation. She would never become the prime minister in the future. Toru Watanabe had no idea what the girl was thinking. He told her about his experience in Tokyo, including renting a house, part-time jobs, transportation, and so on. Halfway through, the waiter brought 4 servings of udon noodles. Steam rose from the bowls, making it difficult to see each other's faces. The 4 of them were at the age of 16, and their stomachs had long since digested their dinner. When they smelled the aroma, they instantly became even hungrier. They said in unison, "I'm eating," and immediately started eating. "Kumiko, try this." Lena scooped some soup with a spoon, then put the udon noodles on it and ate it in one bite. "Let me try. Delicious. Delicious." After eating, Kumiko took a big gulp of soup. She lifted her feet under the table, and her slippers naturally fell off. Perhaps it was because it was rare to eat udon noodles in a foreign city in the middle of the night with people they had only met once, but had a good relationship with, so Toru Watanabe and Rin Kiyono also thought it tasted good. After eating a few mouthfuls, Kumiko said while stuffing the noodles into her mouth, "Kun Watanabe, please continue." "Kumiko." Lena wiped the back of her hand with a napkin. There was soup spilled by Kumiko on it. "Hee." Kumiko laughed embarrassedly. "Where were we?" Toru Watanabe asked. "Why didn't you tell the NHK TV station staff about opening the door?" "Oh, that's it, right? Next, I'll tell you how to save money." Toru Watanabe spoke as he ate, and the 2 people in Kyoto listened quietly, occasionally asking a few questions. "I hate the 2-slice salmon in the supermarket the most." "Why?" "1 slice costs 500 renminbi, and it's not enough. 2 slices costs 975 renminbi, but it's too much." Toru Watanabe finished the last mouthful of noodles and drank some soup. "That's about it. If you can't remember, just come to Tokyo and find me." Going to school in Tokyo alone right after graduating from middle school, and working all kinds of part-time jobs while maintaining good grades. "It sounds so hard," Kumiko said in disbelief. Lena also nodded. She felt it the most when Toru Watanabe held up a billboard under the hot sun for 4 hours. When they came home from school every day, their mother had already prepared dinner. They didn't even have to wash their own clothes. All they had to do was study and practice the flute. Although this person was a pervert, a hooligan who liked to make fun of them, he was unexpectedly an inspirational person. "Why else would I be the prime minister and not you?" Toru Watanabe wiped his mouth with a napkin and drank his tea, waiting for them to finish eating. Unfortunately, that's in the past. Rin Kiyono would wipe her mouth with a napkin after every mouthful of noodles. The way she ate was so delicate that it didn't fit in with the atmosphere of the restaurant. "In the past?" Kumiko asked curiously. "There's nothing to say. The past is unbearable." Toru Watanabe interrupted her. "Alright, Kumiko, what's your ranking in the national mock exam? With my guidance in mathematics, you must have improved a lot, right?" "Guidance? You call that guidance?" Kumiko purposely ignored the previous question. Although she wasn't unhappy with her ranking, she still felt embarrassed to say it out loud. Because she was definitely the worst of the 4. The master leads the way, but the cultivation depends on the individual. "I don't remember when I became your disciple." "You didn't lead me in either," Kumiko complained. "I really don't know what to do with you. The next time we meet, I'll organize a mathematics notebook for you." The next time we meet. What if there's no concert at the station building? Wouldn't it be the same day next year? Yes. Toru Watanabe stopped shaking the teacup and couldn't help but laugh. "And you have to enter the national competition first." Kumiko stared blankly at his irresistible smile. When she came back to her senses, she quickly lowered her head to eat her noodles. "We'll definitely enter the national competition." Reina just happened to be eating her noodles, so she managed to avoid a disaster. "Okay." Toru Watanabe nodded. Then he proudly looked at Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono tucked her long hair behind her ears and slowly sipped her soup. She didn't even look at him. According to experience, she was despised. If it was just the two of them, she would definitely mercilessly ridicule him. She would even ask him to buy drinks. After eating their noodles, Toru Watanabe paid the bill. Kumiko looked at the black wallet he took out. She couldn't understand. Why would a boy think that such a monotonous thing was cool? Then, she was shocked. In the wallet, in addition to the card, there was a thick stack of 10,000 yen notes. She estimated that there were at least 10 of them. Carrying 100,000 yen with him. How about I go to school alone in Tokyo? Kumiko, who only had a monthly allowance of 3,000 yen, was dazzled by money. She thought about the possibility of this plan. After eating their fill, they didn't feel cold at all on the way back. The four of them slowly walked past various buildings with the word "Re" written on them. When they passed the park, they suddenly realized that they were heading in the same direction. So the other school living here is yours, Toru Watanabe said. I'm the one who's curious. You're so rich, but you're still living here? Kumiko thought of the school bus with the crow printed on it. Can't help it. Our leader is a guy who prioritizes efficiency and doesn't know how to enjoy life. Toru Watanabe-san, you're the first one who dares to speak ill of me in front of me. Is that so? That's great. Kiyono-san will be number one again. Shut up. Yes. While Rin Kiyono was painfully rubbing her forehead, the four of them had already arrived at the entrance of the hotel. Ah. Watanabe. A boy from Kamikawa Yukibu was buying drinks in front of a vending machine. He had a lot of drinks in his hands. It seems like he lost at cards. What a noob. We even went to the bathroom to look for you. As he said that, the boy suddenly noticed the three beautiful girls beside Toru Watanabe, especially after Reina. His eyes widened and he shouted, "You're hogging Reina again." Lena's little face froze. She didn't know what he was talking about. What the hell do you mean by hogging Reina? The one hogging her is this Kumiko-san, and I'm hogging Kiyono-san. There's also Kumiko-san and Reina-san. I'm 1 against 3, you know. Ugh, cough cough cough. Reina was very familiar with Toru Watanabe, and she didn't hold back. I dare you to flirt with Kumiko again. She glared at him, her pretty face was serious, and she said sternly, cough cough, so that's where I'm wrong. Kumiko couldn't help but smile shyly. She grabbed Lena's arm. Forget it, Lena, since he treated us to udon noodles. Udon noodles? The boy screamed again. In the quiet night, his voice was unusually harsh. Rin Kiyono and Lena looked at him with cold and impatient eyes. I'm going back first. The boy immediately ran away with the drinks. Halfway through, the drink fell. He hurriedly picked it up. Fortunately, when he bent down to pick it up, the other drinks all fell to the ground. I'm going back too. Toru Watanabe clutched his abdomen, as if his kidney had been cut out. Wait a minute. Kumiko shouted embarrassedly. Let's exchange contact information. Maybe we can eat udon noodles together for the next 3 years. 1 meal is enough, but you want to eat me for 3 years. Stingy men are not welcome. Reina said disdainfully. I'll treat you next time. Then no problem. Toru Watanabe immediately let go of his hand and took out his phone as if nothing had happened. Kumiko looked at Rin Kiyono. She always felt that this person was full of the aura of a rich young lady. Every word and action of hers was superior to her, and it was difficult to talk to her. I'll pass. Rin Kiyono said lightly. Although he could persuade her, Toru Watanabe still didn't say anything. Anyway, the two of them would quit the band after tomorrow and probably wouldn't come to Nagoya again. But he thought about it again. Rin Kiyono didn't have many friends. She just took the initiative to invite Kumiko and Lena to eat noodles, so maybe she had a good impression of them. Although Kumiko and Lena's personalities were very different, they were generally very good. They were also very talented in playing music. When they came to Tokyo in the future, they might become good friends with Rin Kiyono. The most important thing was that the people who could go out alone in a group activity were either plot triggers with feelings or main characters. Becoming friends with them might increase his luck. It was fake, a joke. Don't be so cold. Maybe we'll all be in the Tokyo University band together in the future. Toru Watanabe casually made up an excuse. Rin Kiyono thought for a moment and sighed. Okay. The four of them exchanged their line accounts and said, "Good luck in the competition," to each other before returning to their respective school floors. As soon as Toru Watanabe returned to his bunk, he was immediately suppressed by all the boys. Chapter 149. October 26th. Clear weather. National competition. Lena, wake up. If this goes on, Kumiko will be squashed. Kawashima Midori said. You really like Kumiko? Kato Yatsuki muttered to himself without rhyme or reason. Lena's eyelashes fluttered as she sleepily looked at Midori and Yatsuki. Only then did she notice Kumiko, who was covering her face with one hand and sighing at the sky. She was in a very bad position. Kumiko was pressed under her body, and her short-sleeved sportswear was rolled up. Their skin was tightly pressed together, and their pajama pants were loose. On the other side was her own bed. In other words, she unconsciously crawled into Kumiko's bed. After collecting the information, Lena's face was as red as a cooked octopus, making people want to take a bite. After standing up, she patted Kumiko's back to cover up her shyness. Really? Why didn't you wake me up? That was meaningless. Her red face had already exposed her thoughts. I did. Kumiko was both amused and helpless as she replied. Then why didn't you say it louder? If you didn't wake me up, how could it be considered as waking me up? Lena was so embarrassed that she fell into a girl's sophistry mode. Kumiko decided to admit her mistake. Yes, I'll definitely wake you up next time. That's more like it, humph. Midori exaggeratedly covered her mouth and laughed. Wow, there's a next time. I meant next time. Lena's face was red as she tried to argue. Before Midori could speak again, Kumiko laughed. Okay, stop laughing at her. Lena might get angry. After waking everyone up, they changed into their uniforms. This underwear is so cute. Where did you buy it? It's not just cute. I wore this on the day of the Kansai competition. Today will bring us good luck and help us win the national gold medal. Is this the legendary Ultimate Victory underwear? No, Ultimate Victory underwear is not for this kind of occasion. Then when was it? Of course it was when I spent the night with my boyfriend. Wow. You guys, forget about last night. Don't talk about this so early in the morning. Your underwear is not bad either. Let me see. Ah. Your hands are so cold. Take it away. Kumiko buttoned up her pleated skirt and listened to the stupid words of these students who were only wearing underwear. Standing a little further away, Lena was adjusting the length of her skirt. In an official competition, the length of the skirt had to be just above the knees. Kumiko glanced over. Under her navy blue skirt, her slender legs were exposed. Her curves were beautiful. Lena looked at him in confusion. Kumiko gently shook her head, indicating that she was fine. Let me help you tie your hair. The National League also had requirements for hair. Long hair had to be tied into a ponytail. Yes. Lena handed the hairband to her and sat down on the tatami. Help me first. I'll help you later. All right. After a long time, the girls finally finished dressing up and left the room for the dining room. Kanagawa High School, which he did not meet yesterday, was also there. The girls in Tokyo were different. Even if they were wearing school uniforms, they looked very fashionable, just like the people on TV. Is this the so-called social class? Kumiko thought to herself as she took her breakfast. Miso soup, fried eggs, boiled eggs, and so on were all things that he was used to eating. The premise was that he would not have an upset stomach. There were a lot of people in the dining room. The only empty seats were a few tables at the intersection of the two unfamiliar schools. Kumiko, Lena, LV Hui, and Yi Yu arrived late, so they could only sit there obediently. But fortunately, the one sitting there was a Kamigawa student, Rin Kiyono, whom they knew. After the four of them sat down, Kumiko looked around and did not see Toru Watanabe. She felt a bit strange. "Where's that guy? Don't tell me you ate something bad?" Lena also noticed this problem and asked with schadenfreude. Rin Kiyono waited until he swallowed the miso soup in his mouth before answering. "He has a habit of doing morning exercises. He should be taking a bath now. What a pity." Although Lena said that, she also showed a pitiful expression. "Lena." Kumiko hurriedly tried to stop her and looked at Rin Kiyono apologetically. "It's okay." Rin Kiyono indicated that it was okay. She never cared about what others said or did. She only cared about what others really thought. Although Lena was not polite with her words, she did not mean what she said just now. She did not really want Toru Watanabe to have an upset stomach. "So this is Tsundere?" She suddenly realized. Of course, Rin Kiyono did not know the word tsundere, but Toru Watanabe often deliberately said that she did not mean what she said. In fact, she liked him in her heart. It was something stupid like tsundere. Today, she finally understood the meaning of this word in real life. After a while, Toru Watanabe came. His body was still wet from his shower. Although he had only joined them halfway, he finished eating faster than them. After breakfast, the two schools continued to practice. Both of their matches were in the afternoon. After finishing the last practice and carrying the instruments, everyone got on the bus to the stadium. The concert hall in Nagoya was very large, but even so, the square was almost full, and the parking lot was already full of buses. The contestants in uniforms of various colors gathered together, waiting to enter the arena. There were also many staff members, trying their best to maintain order and lead the way for the audience. "Wow, what a big horse. Let's take pictures too." At the entrance, under the huge horse statue that was nearly 9 meters long, Kumiko and others took pictures together. After taking pictures, there was news that the first half of the competition was over, and the winners were also announced. The students waiting to enter the stadium were excited. "I heard that Ming Gong won the gold medal. He's really strong. Sakare won the silver medal. It's incredible. Seijo girls won the bronze medal. But for their first appearance, they worked very hard." Listening to these discussions, Kumiko subconsciously touched her beating heart and exhaled a big breath. She was both nervous and expectant. She wanted to know how her hard work this summer would pay off. Wow! What a powerful car! The high school students, who were just talking about the competition, all looked in the same direction. Kumiko and others also looked in the same direction. It was a very high-end black car. The body was longer than the average car, but it wasn't as exaggerated as the extended model. Among the crowd, a leader of the organizers who had spoken a few words earlier walked quickly toward the car. Before he reached the car, he had already bent down. His face revealed a smile that was not obsequious, but was very respectful. Behind this person, there were a few security guards and staff members following behind him. "Wow! It's just like a TV show." LV Huey's eyes widened, looking at the scene in front of her without blinking. Not only her, the scene in front of her was very surprising to the other high school students, even the teachers, and the audience who came to watch the competition. This is just an ordinary social phenomenon. In reality, rich people's extravagance is much more exaggerated than on TV. Lena said indifferently. Kumiko felt that Lena was very mature. The car door opened, and a girl in a black dress came out. She had a snow-white neck, slender shoulders and waist. Under the big sunglasses was a small face that was as white as jade, rosy lips, and a delicate nose. The girl stood there with her arms crossed, like a black swan. Her whole body was emitting an overwhelming sense of existence. The organizer who brought a group of people over was stopped by the girl's subordinates before he could get 3 meters closer. The girl was wearing sunglasses, so it was unclear where she was looking. But from her actions, she didn't care about the organizer who was stopped. The organizer was stopped, but the smile on his face was not forced. He still bent down and talked to the girl's subordinates. So cool. Is she a famous wind instrument master? She was specially invited to support the competition? How is that possible? She's obviously a rich family's young miss. But she's too beautiful. She's even prettier than those female celebrities who had plastic surgery in Korean dramas. How do you know if she's pretty or not wearing sunglasses? In the midst of the discussion, the girl in the black dress slowly walked through the crowd. As soon as she moved, the organizer immediately brought the security guards to the front and began to disperse the crowd. Kumiko's group was also stopped under the huge equestrian statue, and they were divided into two groups with the rest of the school. The organizer was very polite, saying, "Sorry, it'll be done soon, excuse me," and so on. Everyone was already a high school student. Even if someone was unhappy, they wouldn't stupidly stand out. The crowd was like a large field of wheat grass swaying in the wind. They were easily separated by the organizer, allowing the girl and her subordinates to safely pass through. But it didn't always go smoothly. When the organizer opened a path to Kanagawa High School, they met with obstruction. Rin Kiyono stood there with her arms crossed, motionless. She had no intention of giving way to the girl. The organizer didn't want to have a conflict with the students. He was anxious and didn't know what to do. "Sorry, you can go first. She's friends with Miki Kujo." Kumiko heard Toru Watanabe say to the organizer. The organizer hesitated for a moment, then nodded apologetically to Toru Watanabe and continued to walk forward. But the girl in the black dress didn't continue walking. She stopped in front of Rin Kiyono and Toru Watanabe. So, everyone looked at the three of them. Although the girl's subordinates were there, they didn't have much of a presence. The competition was about to begin, but now everyone was excitedly looking forward to what would happen next. Many people in the audience took out their phones, preparing to take pictures of the rich bullying students that might happen. I wonder if their phones will be confiscated and reformatted. Kumiko was worried for the two of them, but she couldn't help but think about some messy things. "Kumiko, let's go." Kumiko looked at Lena in surprise. "I won't allow anyone to affect us. We worked so hard to get here." Kumiko knew that the "we" Lena was talking about wasn't Kita Yuji, but all the students participating in the national competition. She didn't have the courage to go. "Okay, I'll go with you." Kumiko took a deep breath and tried to recall the lines she saw on the internet that could make rich people not dare to mess around. She didn't know if she could say it with enough force, but she could only hope that the bodyguards wouldn't beat her up. Lena smiled at her, a satisfied and happy smile on her face. The two of them were about to go up. At this moment, the girl in the black dress impatiently fixed Toru Watanabe's tie and fringe. "How many times have I told you to put on your tie properly and pay attention to your image?" "Okay." Toru Watanabe let the girl help him. Rin Kiyono looked at the girl in the black dress and sunglasses with an unfriendly gaze. Under the shade of a tree, there was a corner mirror that looked down at the three of them with great interest. The world reflected in the mirror was stretched and distorted. Kumiko noticed that at the edge of the corner mirror, she and Lena were stretched to the point that they didn't look human anymore. Their stunned expressions were a bit funny. "Kujo-san, please don't affect everyone else's competition," Rin Kiyono said bluntly. "It's the organizer who's affecting you. I didn't ask anyone to pick me up." Miki Kujo didn't even look at her as she fiddled with Toru Watanabe's fringe. "It's not that you're affecting us, but..." Before Rin Kiyono could finish her sentence, Kumiko saw Toru Watanabe standing between the two of them. He grabbed the girl's white and beautiful hand and rubbed it while saying, "Why are you wearing so little? Hurry up and go in, don't catch a cold." Kumiko felt that the girl in the black dress was looking at her through her large sunglasses. She glanced at Rin Kiyono proudly before walking into the venue. As soon as the girl in the black dress left, the square immediately went into an uproar. There were all kinds of comments, but they were quickly suppressed by the teachers. Everyone was nervous about the competition again. Is that his girlfriend? You guessed. Ah, I remember now. Lu Hui suddenly raised his voice. Last time I went back and watched the interview. Watanabe-san really did say that his girlfriend was powerful and influential. Lena said to Kumiko, I thought they were a couple. I thought so too. Kumiko nodded. She knew that Lena was talking about Watanabe and Kiyono. That pervert isn't two-timing, is he? Lena guessed in a low voice. Kumiko's eyes widened. If that's the case, then when he took the initiative to look for you, Lena, could it be that he wanted to develop a long-distance lover in Kyoto? He wants to be three-timing? Lena angrily poked Kumiko's side. Kumiko immediately put on a begging expression and said with a smile, Sorry, I won't joke around anymore. After the commotion, it didn't take long for everyone to enter the venue and enter their assigned small concert hall. After tuning and practicing for the last time, Kamigawa waited for the staff to inform them to go on stage. Toru Watanabe held the whistle in his mouth. He used his breath to warm his body and maintain his best condition. This is the whistle he is most satisfied with since he became a reed maker. This may also be the last time in his life that he plays the oboe on stage. He wants to give it his all. Unfortunately, he still couldn't reach the level beyond. Beside him was Kaoru Hayami. Misaki Komatsu, the head of the instrument department, slowly walked over. Xiaoshuan. Yes. Kaoru Hayami looked away from the music score and looked at Misaki Komatsu. Next year, I'll leave the instrument department to you. Mio. Kaoru Hayami looked at Misaki Komatsu's determined eyes and took a deep breath. I understand. Misaki Komatsu nodded. She held the instrument in her hand and looked at the heavy door. It's about time to officially go on stage. Her voice was calm, but Kaoru Hayami could hear the nervousness in it. She also looked at the door, her hand stroking the smooth bassoon outside. On the other side, Aoi Ichiki held her head with her hands, closed her eyes, and sang silently. Asako Hanada held the bowstring in her hand and pressed her forehead against the bass cello. Yoshimi Tamamo wrote the word people in her hand and then desperately swallowed 3 times. Miyasahi was still expressionless. She blew the bass horn through the mouthpiece to maintain the temperature of the instrument. Not a sound could be heard in the preparation room. Toru Watanabe whispered to Rin Kiyono, Aren't you going to say something this time? Rin Kiyono lowered her head and thought for a moment. She shook her head and said, It's good for them to overcome their nervousness on their own. Toru Watanabe didn't say anything. He sighed and said, Time flies. It's already autumn. You can continue to stay in the wind instrument department. Rin Kiyono said calmly, Why should I stay in the wind instrument department when you're not here anymore? Is it Miki Kujo who asked you to learn the oboe? Can't I learn the oboe? I'm staying in the wind instrument department and being bullied because of you. Toru Watanabe said. Rin Kiyono rolled her eyes and corrected him. It's for the survival of the human observation department. It's the same thing. But now that the student council president has changed, there shouldn't be any more crises in the future. We can retire and return to our hometown. Rin Kiyono nodded slightly. Misaki Komatsu suddenly walked over. Kiyono-san, can I say a few words? Rin Kiyono paused for a moment. Of course. Komatsu Miki took a deep breath and looked around the concert hall. Everyone had tacitly gathered their gazes. Ever since Kiyono-san became the consultant, all of us practiced every morning, memorized music during lunch break, and practiced until late at night after school. Some students missed out on cram classes, which caused their grades to drop. Many of them were third-year students like me. Some students gave up their rest time to gather with friends, and time to go on dates with their boyfriends. Everything was for today. Everyone, I don't want to say things like, just do your best and play happily. Misaki Komatsu held her instrument tightly. I'm a third-year student. I've sacrificed a lot for today. You can take it as my selfishness and share the pressure with you. But I just want to win. Everyone looked at her quietly with tears in her eyes. The girls held their skirts tightly and the boys pursed their lips. What? Entering the national competition for the first time is already good enough. Winning the silver award is also good enough. Misaki Komatsu looked at everyone and took a deep breath. If it's not the gold award, then it's not enough. The girls panting after her emotional outburst filled the small concert hall. Go, Kamigawa! A boy suddenly raised his arm and shouted, Go, Kamigawa! Everyone's voices echoed in the concert hall. Before the sound dissipated, the heavy door was pushed open. Students of Kanagawa High School, it's time. Everyone. Misaki Komatsu wiped her tears. Let's go. Chapter 150. The walkway leading to the concert hall was filled with solemn silence. The students of Kanagawa High School pushed open the soundproof door and walked to the back of the stage. The stage was filled with dazzling lights, which was the complete opposite of the dark backstage. Behind the curtains, the students could see the school performing and part of the audience. Miki Kujo was sitting in the VIP area with her head resting on her hands. Her expression was indifferent. Since it was difficult to get a ticket, there was a large empty space around her. Senior Komatsu is still the same as before. Her speech before Tokyo University's competition last time was also the same. She said something about not losing to the other schools. Toru Watanabe turned around and looked at Rin Kiyono, who was standing beside him. Rin Kiyono said softly, It's not just her. According to my observations, most of the students in Kamigawa are like this. They're already used to the concept of either don't do it, or do it well. Yeah, that makes sense. You're also like this. You're using well to describe me. Rin Kiyono looked at him with dissatisfaction. Perfect. You're perfect. Rin Kiyono said, That's more like it. She turned around and continued to watch the performance on the stage. Toru Watanabe stared at the side of her face. For the competition, she had tied her hair up into a bun. What are you looking at? Rin Kiyono noticed his gaze and frowned. Beautiful girls are really cute no matter what hairstyle they wear. It's just my appearance. What's there to talk about? Rin Kiyono turned her head away. Please pay attention to my grades, sports, art, etiquette, and also my mental invulnerability. Invulnerability on the spiritual level, Do you have any questions, Toru Watanabe-san? No, I just think that you're really cute. Are you looking down on me? Rin Kiyono crossed her arms and sneered at Toru Watanabe. No, why would I look down on you? Lies. Rin Kiyono's face turned completely cold. I underestimated you, Toru Watanabe classmate. I didn't expect you to be so ignorant. You look cute in men's suits too. I'm talking to you. Even if she's angry, she's still cute. Rin Kiyono took a deep breath and sternly said, I'll tell you one more time, Watanabe classmate. Superficial things like appearances are not worth mentioning. The sound of inhaling is very cute, the lips when you speak are very cute, the angry eyes are very cute, the way you hug your arms is very cute, the quick blink when you're shy is very cute. Shallow. Rin Kiyono loosened her arms, pursed her lips, and glared at him. If I'm not satisfied with your solo later, I'll teach you a lesson when we return to Tokyo. She snorted coldly and turned away completely, not even showing the side of her face to Toru Watanabe. But today, as luck would have it, she had tied her long, straight, and soft hair into a bun, so her delicate and white ears were exposed. Toru Watanabe looked at her red ears and listened carefully to Rin Kiyono's breathing in the dark. An inexplicable emotion welled up in his heart. But he turned his gaze to the audience. The oboe in his hand was emitting a black luster. No matter how cute Rin Kiyono was, his music was for Miki Kujo. You have a new email. Oboe, Master Beyond. Arsan, you must be a god, right? Shut up. Pushing open the heavy door leading to the stage, the sound of a high school performance rushed into his ears. Unlike the Kyoto competition and the Kansai competition, when it came to the national competition, no school was weak. They were all famous for their musical prowess. But I can't be afraid. Hokuyu School is one of the 29 participating teams. It's a strong musical prowess. Kumiko swallowed her saliva as she hugged the trumpet. Hokuyu School's students filed backstage. There was already a school ready to go on stage. It was the Kansai representative, Kanagawa High School. It was a private school with a deviation rate in the top 10% in the country. Some of the students were exceptionally smart, and some were terrifyingly hard-working. The rest were all smart and hard-working. In Yi Yu's words, the last group was too disgusting. They didn't give ordinary people a chance at all. They wore neat black uniforms and looked calm and solemn, like a well-trained army. Kumiko found a corner and found it difficult to breathe. Her heart was beating fast. She closed her eyes and was surrounded by a bottomless darkness. Don't be too nervous. The steady voice was mixed with the sound of footsteps, reminding her in a low voice. Kumiko opened her eyes and nodded silently to Toru Watanabe, who came over. Are you confident? Toru Watanabe asked. Yes or no? Kumiko didn't know herself. You'll be fine. Kumiko looked at him in surprise. Why do you say that? Now, here, at the Nagoya International Conference Hall, there are many good people. Including Hokuyu School, there are also many good players. For example, that oboe, and another trumpet player. And your good friend Lena is even more beautiful and good. What kind of reason is that? Kumiko sighed helplessly. But, those guys I just mentioned, none of them are worthy of my attention. In the whole of Hokuyu School, only you, Kumiko, are qualified to be my friend. That's why you'll be fine. Why? Kumiko asked softly. It was strange. Was it because of the upcoming competition? Toru Watanabe was talking bad about her respected seniors and Lena, but she wasn't angry at all. Or, was it because Toru Watanabe saw her as a friend? He went to Tokyo to study alone, worked hard, had a girlfriend that the organizers didn't even dare to raise their voice. He easily won the first place in the country. His appearance was impeccable. He was definitely a typical example of someone who stood above others. Such a person treated her as a friend. Even Lena, who was shining in her eyes, didn't enter his eyes. But she could. Toru Watanabe pointed at her and then pointed at himself. We're the same kind of people. How can you tell? Kumiko wanted him to say more. In her previous life, she had always been called a good girl and gentle. But she had never been recognized to this extent. She felt a sense of pride in her heart. This kind of thing is like engraved on the forehead. You can understand it at a glance. Kumiko glanced at Toru Watanabe's forehead. This person didn't have any blind spots. He was very handsome, but there was no engraving. She showed a puzzled expression. How should I explain it to you? Toru Watanabe thought for a while in distress. He squeezed out a light wrinkle between his eyebrows. For example, if I'm the handsome man of Tokyo, then you, Kumiko Owami, are the perfect heroine of Hokuyo. No. Kumiko was stunned. Isn't the difference too big? You're the perfect heroine of Kyoto. Toru Watanabe didn't comment on Kumiko's complaint. He chuckled and said, How is it, are you still nervous? So you were comforting me. Was what you said just now fake? Kumiko said with dissatisfaction. She carefully sensed it, and her originally tense body did indeed unknowingly relax. How is that possible? Who in Shinjuku doesn't know that I, Toru Watanabe's greatest virtue is honesty? Who would believe you? Well, the handsome man of Tokyo part is absolutely true. I'm not lying to you. Kumiko was about to say something, when suddenly the audience in front of the curtain warmly applauded. The performance of the previous high school ended, and it was Kamigawa's turn. Kumiko's relaxed mood suddenly became tense again. She worriedly looked at Toru Watanabe, but what she saw was an unmoved face. So far, in all the competitions she participated in, Kumiko had never seen such a confident expression on anyone. Toru Watanabe stretched out his fist to her. Kumiko looked at the fist for a while, then suddenly remembered that her much smaller fist gently bumped it. "I'm going." "Well, good luck. Enjoy my performance, Kumiko. My next performance has never been like this before, and it will never be like this in the future." Toru Watanabe took the oboe and music score, and together with the people of Kanagawa High School, stepped onto their own stage. Kumiko, who was left alone in the same place, closed her eyes again. In the bottomless darkness, light particles floated under her thin eyelids. "No problem, now I'm omnipotent." "Kumiko." Lena came over. "Let's get closer, I want to see that guy's strength." Kumiko opened her eyes, and softly said, "Yes." The two walked to the front of the curtain. It was already full of people, like Lu Hui, who liked to listen to the performance, and there were also students who were infatuated with handsome guys and girls. Looking at the stage exposed to the strong light, Kumiko's heart once again thumped hard, but this time it was not because of nervousness, but because of anticipation for the future. She couldn't wait to perform on stage. Now, even if it was difficult to play the transition notes, it would be perfect. Next, number 9, the representative of Kanto, East Kyoto Kamikawa High School Band, will perform for everyone. All the departments of Kanagawa High School sat in their designated seats. The music score filled with notes was placed on a black stand. The designated song is the fourth song. The free song is Four Seasons of Prosperity, composed by Hidaichi Kawasawa. The conductor is Rin Kiyono. As the announcement ended, the auditorium was suddenly plunged into darkness. Only the spotlights on the stage were still on, the white light shining on the black uniforms of Kanagawa High School. The conductor, who was the same age as them, looked at everyone's face one by one. Her slender fingers raised the baton, and the rest of the Kamigawa students raised their instruments in unison, as if they were soldiers who saw the flag of the general. Kumiko couldn't help but grab the hem of her skirt. Then, she waved the baton downwards. In an instant, neat musical notes gushed out from the horns, without a trace of impurity. The trumpets were powerful, the percussion rushed forward, the brass paddles clanged, the bass drum roared loudly, and the small drums were like rolling thunder. The sound was endless, notes and notes constantly collided. The main melody was complex and shocking. Suddenly, the beautiful melody of the flute was like a night breeze. The intense performance was slowly subdued, followed by the lingering sound of the upper bass horn like a love song. The notes overlapped with each other, seamlessly strung together. Although the upper bass horn was more of a foil, like a thin flame simmering to increase the quality of the flute, the tone was too beautiful, too transparent, too warm. It was the most beautiful upper bass horn tone Kumiko had ever heard. She, who was also playing the upper bass horn, couldn't help but look over. Kamigawa had 2 upper bass horn players, but at this time, there was only one girl playing with an indifferent expression. Her eyes weren't on the music score, nor did she look at the conductor. Following her line of sight, it was Kamigawa's oboe player. It was Watanabe. Just as she thought that, the field suddenly quieted down. Kumiko hurriedly looked at the conductor. Rin Kiyono put down his hands, and lightly nodded to the oboe. "He's giving the solo time to the performer." On the side, Lena couldn't help but whisper in surprise. Kumiko's heart was shocked. Lena was Beiyuji's trumpet soloist, but she was strong enough to be a soloist in her first year, so she had to listen to the conductor's arrangement. The solo was to cooperate with everyone, not everyone to cooperate with her. The silence continued, filling the concert hall. The air gradually became restless, and a few audience members even began to whisper. But when Toru Watanabe held the whistle and breathed into the oboe, the world was only left with a melancholy melody. The notes seemed to extend to the ends of the earth, driving away all the uneasiness and impatience, filling every inch of the concert hall. Everyone's heart beat violently, shaking their eardrums. As always, the timbre intoxicated Kumiko, causing her to resonate with him and shake her soul. In a trance, a blue bird hatched from the oboe. She slowly grew, lazily stretching out her wings, adapting to her body, and then, she spread her wings and flew up with a cry. In response to her call, All the clarinets played together, and the golden pipes gathered behind her, like a flock of birds following behind the blue bird. But, just as everyone was mesmerized by the ensemble and swallowed by the torrent of sound, the blue bird suddenly let out an arrogant cry. This cry broke the harmony of the ensemble, and regardless of whether the audience was willing or not, it forcefully pierced their eardrums. The audience, the judges, Beiyuji backstage, and everyone watching the live broadcast on TV, all stared at the scene on stage with their mouths agape. Be it the clarinets or the golden pipes, they were all abandoned by the blue bird. She danced alone, flying higher and higher, and higher and higher, and the light began to shine, and the colors gradually became colorful. When she circled the concert hall, and everyone was bathed in her brilliance, everything was won over. Kumiko felt like her brain was about to melt. Representatives of all schools, please come to the stage and line up. Before anyone could react, the award ceremony had already begun. The sound of the oboe remained in everyone's eardrums. A row of golden trophies shone brightly under the stage lights, stimulating the audience's desire. Number 1, Northern Representative, Yen Business High School, bronze medal. A disappointed sigh came from a corner, but no one cared about them. Number 4, Kanto Representative, East Kyoto Laikomazawa High School, gold medal. Ah! Amid the boys' roars, there were girls' sharp voices and joyful cries. The schools that were still waiting for the results were livid. The gold medal only accounted for 30% of the total. With one more school, their chances would be smaller. Number 5, Kyushu Representative, Qingliang Girls High School, gold medal. 2 gold medals in a row. Qingliang Girls High School ran and jumped, the girls' legs under their skirts, and the girls hugging each other. The scene that usually attracted people's attention was now ignored. Number 6, Kanto Representative, East Kyoto Likitakura High School, gold medal. The cheers were thunderous. The sound waves hit the heads of the remaining students. 3 gold medals in a row. Although they knew that this was not controlled by humans, and that the next award would not be silver or bronze just because the gold medals were close together, Number 7 was already in despair, and some of the female members could not help but cry. The faces of the people from Kanagawa High School were also not looking good. Kanto Representative, 2 schools had already won gold medals. Would the last school give a gold medal? Would the judges not like Kanto's strength, or think that Kamigawa entered the national competition for the first time, so a silver medal would be enough? Number 7, Shikoku Representative, Shikoku University Affiliated High School, bronze medal. The people from Shikoku University Affiliated High School covered their faces sadly, and some of the boys gritted their teeth, hating themselves for being useless. On the stage, Misaki Komatsu's hands were cold, and the beating of her heart spread through her bones, and her feet began to feel numb. Behind her, Mayasahi's lips were pursed into a line. Number 8, Tohoku Representative, Iwate Prefecture Rikuzawa High School, silver medal. Breathing heavier and heavier, Misaki Komatsu stared blankly as the representative of Rikuzawa High School received the trophy and certificate with satisfaction. If Kamigawa only won the silver medal, she would never forgive herself. Kamigawa was a school that didn't even make it to the Imperial University, and they were too embarrassed to attend class reunions. She would never allow herself to lose to another school after giving it her all. Number 9, Kanto Representative, Eastern Kyoto Kamigawa High School. Everyone in Kamigawa couldn't help but hold their breaths. The girl clasped her hands together and closed her eyes, praying. The boys didn't even blink as they clenched their fists and stared at the MC who was announcing the results. In the silent hall, the MC's solemn voice rang out. Gold medal. Ah. Gold medal. Gold medal. Gold medal. Senpai. The girl rushed into her senior's arms. Don't cry, we won the gold medal. Don't cry. Ah. The senior couldn't help but cry out loud. The moment she heard the results, Misaki Komatsu felt like she was going to collapse. The sound faded away, and the scenery became still. That short second seemed to have been stretched hundreds of times longer. Below the stage, everyone hugged each other and screamed. It was so far away that it seemed like a dream. That's great, that's really great. Miho. My Asahi called out softly. Yes. Misaki Komatsu tried her best to hold back her tears as she walked up with my Asahi and received the trophy and certificate. The MC's steady voice continued through the microphone. Number 10, Kanto Representative, Kyoto Prefectural Kida Uji High School, Bronze Medal. I feel like there aren't enough photos. Senpai, what else do you want? You're so troublesome, we just want to go eat. You weren't like this when you were crying in my arms just now. You're so long-winded. You're turning into an old woman. Okay, Ichinakase, what else do you want to do? I got it. Let's shoot a video and sing the school song. It's kept in the band. Hey, there are so many people in the square, it's too embarrassing to sing the school song. That's right. No. 1, 2, 3, sing. Wait, I'm not ready yet. What's the first line again? 4 valleys and hills, the school building that the crow schemes over, our alma mater, Kamigawa. The passers-by stopped to watch this group of high school students. Their cheerful singing drifted in the autumn evening of Nagoya. Chapter 151. Students of Kitawushi, please gather here. The minister and deputy minister stood in front of the members of Kitawushi as usual. The two of them held the trophies and certificates they had just received, comforting the disappointed members, recalling the years of hard work, and instructing the students of the next generation. Kumiko really didn't want to listen anymore. If this continued, the tears she was holding back would fall. She turned to look at the students who had worked hard with her. The third-year senior had a face full of tears. Lena, who had been bawling just now, had adjusted her emotions, and the lively Lu Hui was dejected. We've done our best, but the others are better. In the end. Kumiko finally wanted to listen carefully, but when the word, in the end, came out of the third-year senior's mouth, she turned her face away again. She felt indescribably uncomfortable. Is this the end? Can't I work hard with my seniors anymore? Can I go back to summer? I'll work hard. No, I can't let my emotions spread like this. Kumiko took a deep breath and suppressed the burning sensation in her throat. The world in her eyes was a little blurry. She blinked hard to get rid of the annoying tears. Suddenly, Kumiko noticed that Tetsumasa Watanabe was standing quietly at the side, waiting for her. Everyone, please move to the bus. Ms. Long will tell you the judge's comments on the bus. When you get back, the first and second years must do targeted practice. After the third-year senior finished the minister's order, Kumiko quickly walked up. Senior, I have a friend. I'll go back to the bus after a few words. It's okay. Go ahead, the senior replied in a dull voice. Kumiko nodded and quickly walked toward Toru Watanabe. She was afraid that if she said another word to the senior, her tears would fall. Do you need something from me? Wait a moment. Toru Watanabe flipped through the notebook in his hand. Kumiko looked at it. There were only a few pages left. She waited patiently for him. The onlookers and students from other schools all looked at them in amazement. Kumiko took a small step back. Standing next to Toru Watanabe, who could play such an oboe tone, she couldn't help but feel jealous and ashamed. She remembered the scene she saw in the concert hall just now. The judges from various famous music universities were scrambling to get Toru Watanabe to go to their universities. Okay, I'm sorry. Toru Watanabe closed the notebook and looked at the girl who was lost in thought. How do you feel? I can't accept this. Kumiko grumbled. What do you mean by the same type of people? In the end, you won the gold medal, and I won the bronze medal. Ha ha ha. You're still laughing. Sorry. Why are you looking for me? Are you here to show off? Toru Watanabe said in disbelief. Am I that kind of person in your eyes? Isn't it? Kumiko fiercely replied. She didn't know why, but she clearly pretended to be a good girl in front of everyone, but in front of Toru Watanabe, she couldn't help but reveal her little temper. "You've misunderstood me too much. I'm not a little man who likes to show off. I don't need to be arrogant in front of women and losers. I want the world to bow down in front of me. Can I hit you?" "Yes." Toru Watanabe nodded. Seeing that Kumiko really raised her hand, he added, "But I'll fight back." Kumiko rolled her eyes at him and withdrew her hand. "Why are you looking for me?" "This is for you." Toru Watanabe handed over the notebook. "This was my Asahi's reward for signing in for a month yesterday." It was a notebook on the base. He didn't know how to use it specifically. He originally planned to give it to my Asahi, but he unexpectedly liked Kumiko, in the sense of being friends, so he decided to give it to her. As for Senior Mai, he had already memorized the notes and would write one himself. Compared to a gift from the system, Senior Mai would probably be happier. Kumiko casually flipped through 2 pages and couldn't help but be surprised. "This is..." "I asked for it from a senior who plays the bass," Toru Watanabe said. "Is it useful?" "Useful, it's very useful. Music theory, solfeggio and ear training, lip and breath control requirements, emotional expression." Kumiko raised her head excitedly. "Can you really give this to me? Will that senior be angry? This should be a treasure that she cherishes very much." "Of course she'll be angry. Then forget it." Kumiko reluctantly stroked the notebook. "But it's okay if she's angry. I won't hide it from you. Senior is one of my girlfriends." "Huh?" Toru Watanabe leaned closer and whispered in the ear of the dumbfounded Kumiko, "In our school, I have 2 current girlfriends and 1 ex-girlfriend in the trumpet department." Kumiko took 3 steps back and hugged the notebook to her chest, looking at him warily. Toru Watanabe desperately tried to hold back his laughter and said carelessly, "I'm not giving you the notebook for free. As a condition, you have to become one of my girlfriends. Don't even think about it. Think about it carefully. With this notebook, you can play the bass solo next year and lead Hoki Asahi into the national competition. You'll become a special person with your beloved Lena." It seemed like... Kumiko hurriedly shook her head. "No, no, no. No matter what you say." She handed over the notebook. "This, I'll give it back to you. What a pity. You could have been my first girlfriend in Kyoto." Toru Watanabe reached out and caught the notebook, but if he didn't use his strength, he wouldn't be able to pull it out of the girl's hands. Looking at Kumiko's reluctant expression, Toru Watanabe said helplessly, "I really don't know what to do with you. How about this? I'll be your first boyfriend in Tokyo. In other words, you'll feel much better, right? Can you accept it?" "Of course not." Toru Watanabe finally couldn't control himself and laughed. When he was laughing, Kumiko was still immersed in the disappointment of the competition. But because she was shocked by Toru Watanabe's shamelessness and the power of the notebook, she temporarily put her disappointment aside and fell for it. She looked at Toru Watanabe foolishly until she remembered that Toru Watanabe had several girlfriends. She suddenly came back to her senses and shook her head vigorously. "No means no. There's no room for discussion. Your words are too hurtful. I'm sincere." "Hurtful? You're the one who should reflect on yourself." "Ha ha ha, you actually took it seriously." Kumiko blinked. "You're lying to me again." "Everything I said before the competition was true. I really think that you and I are the same type of person. But just now, I really was joking." "Are you serious?" Kumiko doubted. "If possible, I still want to be a loyal person as much as possible." "Then this notebook. Of course it's for you. I have many ways to make you my girlfriend. There's no need to threaten you." Kumiko hugged the notebook happily. After hearing Toru Watanabe's words, she snorted. "You're quite confident, aren't you? But I don't think so. I only like Lena. How about this?" Toru Watanabe whispered softly with a faint smile on his face. I won't agree so easily." Kumiko joked along. "All right, let's not talk about this anymore. I'm leaving." Toru Watanabe stopped smiling. Perhaps the future will be like today. You won't be satisfied with the result, and you'll want to die. But remember, you have to believe in yourself. You'll definitely succeed in whatever you want to do. I'm not you. I don't have that kind of talent. Kumiko's voice was hoarse, which surprised even herself. Was Toru Watanabe's comforting words that moved her so much? I told you. Toru Watanabe patted the girl's shoulder weakly. You and I are the same type of person. You're trying to lie to me again. Kumiko ignored his hand and stared blankly at the notebook in her hand. Kumiko. What? Kumiko whispered. The happiest thing about playing the oboe was meeting a friend like you. If I had gone to Kyoto, we would have gotten along quite well. Perhaps even Lena wouldn't be as close as I am to you. Of course not. That's true. If I had gone to Kyoto, I wouldn't have joined the oboe club at all. Toru Watanabe raised his wrist and looked at the time. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Goodbye. Kumiko watched as Toru Watanabe turned around and left. She watched him disappear into the crowd. Kumiko calmed herself down and returned to Hokuji's bus. The atmosphere inside the bus was tense. Everyone was still immersed in the regret and unwillingness of their failure. Only Kumiko's mood was completely different from before. Feeling everyone's negative emotions and the feeling of the notebook in her hand, she couldn't help but want to hurry back and practice so that she could participate in the next national competition. Walking back to her seat, Lena leaned her head against the window. Her eyes were lifeless. Even her usually enviable long black hair had lost its luster. Kumiko sat down on the seat and stretched her legs out. She took off her shoes again. I'm so tired today, she said. Lena softly grunted, but her eyes were still staring blankly at a certain place. Can you guess why Watanabe was looking for me? Yes. He confessed to me and asked me to be his girlfriend. He said that since the first time he saw me, he would dream of me every day and that he couldn't live without me. This guy is really unbearable. He thinks that because he's handsome, all the girls will fall in love with him. What? Lena raised her head and looked at Kumiko as if she didn't understand. Kumiko rubbed her shoulders and sighed comfortably. He also asked me to go to Tokyo. He said he would give me 10,000 yen every month and take me to the national competition. How dare he? Lena gritted her teeth and clenched her fists. But I refused. I said that I only like Lena and that I want to be with Lena forever. Kumiko. Lena's eyes flashed. She reached out her hands and held Kumiko's cheeks. Her eyes were dazzling. She promised in a firm voice, "Next year, I won't let you down." Yes. Kumiko replied gently. I'll work hard too. Feeling Lena's hands become hot again, Kumiko suddenly realized that what she was doing was the same thing as what Toru Watanabe just did. She was talking nonsense just to help the person in front of her get over her disappointment. So we're really the same kind of people? Kumiko looked out the window, trying to find the school bus with the crow printed on it. Until the next time we meet, she felt a little lonely. It was the first time in her life that she felt this way. If I can be your captive, this summer will definitely be more fulfilling. Even if time can't be turned back, don't forget. On the school bus of Kanagawa High School, Yoshimi Tamamo held a microphone in her hand and danced lively. Occasionally, she would make a peace sign in front of her eyes and sing, "Summertime." The small table in the bus was put down, and there were all kinds of snacks and drinks on it. As for the rest of the people, some were eating snacks, some were humming along to the beat. Occasionally, there would be a strange cry from a boy, followed by the laughter of the girls. After Yoshimi Tamamo finished singing, her beautiful face became rosy. It was unclear whether it was because she was excited or because she was tired from singing. After she came down, a couple was pushed onto the bus, and the busybody forced them to sing a love song. Every time the two of them sang the first line, there would be a burst of laughter. Love each other. Sweet honey. Kiss. 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 The boy's blood rushed to his head, and he turned his head and kissed her. Oh, The school bus drove them to Tokyo, laughing all the way. On October 27th, not long after the mock exam ended, the atmosphere in Class 4 was relaxed. Watanabe, look, the short film you took at the cultural festival has also been posted on the internet. The number of views on YouTube has exceeded 1 million. Not only that, the long-distance shot at the sports festival has also received more than 900,000 views. Too fierce, too fierce. You might as well debut as a YouTube channel and become a YouTube channel owner. Bullshit, with Watanabe's qualifications, it wouldn't be a problem to directly become an artist. During lunch break, Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito were crazily scrolling through their phones. After the national competition, Toru Watanabe suddenly became popular. Twitter, YouTube, forums, and so on, all kinds of news about him could be seen everywhere. For example, on Twitter, topics such as Toru Watanabe, handsome, Toru Watanabe, first in a mock exam, All Japan Orchestra competition, Kanagawa High School students movie, soccer long-distance shot, and so on dominated the list. Why aren't you excited at all? What's there to be excited about? I have no interest in being famous. Toru Watanabe's voice sounded very leisurely. The classroom window was open, and the curtains swayed with the wind. He was immersed in his notebook, writing bass notes. Seeing that Toru Watanabe had no interest in talking, Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito ignored him and kept scrolling through the comments. When they saw something interesting, they read it out and shared it with each other. Too handsome. Oni-chan, I'll wait for you in university. Just got married. Let me see it earlier. Sisters in the front row, don't just look at Thuros looks. Let me explain. I'm a fourth-year student at the University of Iin, majoring in orchestra. Today, the professor directly played Thuros' competition video in class and asked us to write a thesis. Although writing a thesis is difficult, once I think about how I can use my homework time to look at Thuro, the thesis is nothing. Laughing. Why are they all girls' comments? So disgusting. Look at this, there's someone scolding Watanabe here. Where? In Watanabe's interview, he said that his goal is to be the Prime Minister. The comments are all scolding him. Ha ha ha, I saw it. There's one here, if he really gets elected one day, it will be a tragedy for the whole of Japan, because the so-called election will be reduced to a beauty contest. Anyway, I won't vote for this kind of person. He doesn't have the modesty of the Japanese at all. He wants to be the Prime Minister at such a young age. He's a guy who's rotten from the bottom. He's just like the politicians nowadays, all bastards. He's still too young. If he's not born in a political family, he'll never be the Prime Minister. After looking around, they're all scolding him. Although I don't like this person, I have to admit that the people who will control Japan in the future are all people like him. Graduated from Tokyo University, has a good image in front of the media, has the fanatical support of a certain group. The fanatical group refers to women, right? From what I see, those people can't wait to give birth to his children. Ha ha ha, one person to solve the crisis of aging. The whole of Japan is Watanabe's home. Emperor Watanabe, bonsai, long live. Osamu Kanai felt that something was wrong. Why do I feel that these people are all jealous? Can't they be more serious and scold people? That's right. Keisuke Saito skipped over these sour comments. I found it. Here, someone dug out the comments of the experts. Let me see. Osamu Kanai opened the video. With Toru Watanabe as the representative of the outstanding young people of the current generation, all of them put their intelligence and diligence into politics. This is Japan. As soon as the video started, it disappeared. What's going on? Not only this expert's comment, even the trend on Twitter was gone. The two of them searched with all their might, and in the end, they only found the post that was jealous of Toru Watanabe. In a short period of time, it had more than 500 comments. If the election is reduced to a beauty contest, then wouldn't the descendants with his genes be the Prime Minister for generations? Anyway, I don't want to have children. It doesn't matter what the world is like in the future. You guys are still discussing it so well. This person was born in a farmer's family. If he can become the Prime Minister, I will end my 10 years of living off my parents, go out to work, and pay his taxes. Everyone is just joking. Only those women who only know how to look at appearance will take it seriously, right? Don't underestimate politics. Hey. Report, the trend has been removed. The video has been deleted. Born in a farmer's family? Emperor Watanabe, Bonsai. Emperor Watanabe, Bonsai. Emperor Watanabe, Bonsai. Emperor Watanabe, Bonsai. Due to suspected violation, the post has been deleted. At this point, there were no more discussions about Toru Watanabe on Twitter. On the forum, they were all deleted for violating personal privacy. Other than Miki Kujo's Instagram, there were no other posts with more than 100 comments. However, Miki Kujo's Instagram could only be followed by those who belonged to the top of society. In the photo, the bright light of the stage illuminated the side of Toru Watanabe's face. His eyes, nose, and lips were extremely beautiful. As long as a girl looked at him for a while, her face would turn red as if she was in love. The caption was, "Nagoya, boring." Chapter 152. At the front of the classroom, the white-haired history teacher was talking about his views on the three kingdoms. When he talked about Cao Cao's "I killed people in my sweet dreams," the bell rang. He put down the chalk reluctantly and patted the dust off his hands. Everyone, divide into 4 groups. Each group will choose a character from the three kingdoms as your topic. We will discuss it in the next class. Dismissed. This was the last class. The sound of footsteps in the classroom became chaotic. Some continued to study in the classroom. When it was time to leave school, they would go directly to cram school. In order to do so, they needed to build a good relationship with the club head. Otherwise, they would be absent from school. Some couldn't wait to go to the club with their school bags. It was unknown whether they were really going to participate in the activities or if they had found someone they liked in the club. After wiping the blackboard, the student on duty urged the students who were unhurriedly packing up to not interfere with the cleaning. "Watanabe, where are you going?" Keisuke Saito asked as he packed up. "The Human Observation Department." "Aren't you going to train the Wind Instrument Department?" Osamu Kunai stuffed his books into his bag and was the first to pack up. "They're leaving." After Toru Watanabe also packed up, the 3 of them put down their chairs and walked out of the classroom. As soon as they walked out of the classroom, they saw a boy from class 3 holding 2 blackboard erasers and smacking a girl's head. The chalk dust scattered like mist, and a chase began immediately. "Why are they leaving?" Keisuke Saito was puzzled. Osamu Kunai answered on behalf of Toru Watanabe, "Of course it's because they got the national gold medal. They feel bored." "You can understand it that way." Toru Watanabe nodded. The 3 of them had already walked to the door of Class 1. His answer caused a certain someone to be dissatisfied. Yoshimi Tamamo looked at them with her bright eyes. She clicked her tongue and walked away in disdain, leaving her graceful back to the 3 of them. Keisuke Saito asked curiously, "Watanabe, did you offend her?" "I scolded her a few times." Osamu Kunai patted him heavily on the shoulder. "Big brother. Don't touch me." Toru Watanabe slapped his hand away. "I can kill people as I please." "You are even more brutal than Cao Cao." "What is Cao Cao?" "If I were in the Three Kingdoms, I would be better than Kongming in literature, better than Lu Bu in martial arts, and more ambitious than Dong Zhuo." "Dong Zhuo's lust is nothing in front of you." A cold and pleasant voice sounded. Rin Kiyono, who was like a dandelion blown by the wind from afar, appeared in front of the 3 of them. She was so beautiful that they couldn't tell if she was real or fake. Before they could react, he disappeared at the end of the corridor like snow being swept away by the wind. "Did you offend her?" Keisuke Saito asked again. "I was scolded a few times." "Big brother. Osamu Kunai patted Toru Watanabe's shoulder again and added, "I'm so jealous." Toru Watanabe slapped his hand away again. "I'm really going to kill someone." The three of them parted at the staircase. Osamu Kunai went downstairs to the baseball club, while Keisuke Saito went directly to the computer research department. Toru Watanabe went up to the 5th floor. His indoor shoes clicked against the stairs. He walked through the corridor that was dyed red by dusk and opened the door to the human observation department. Rin Kiyono was already reading by the window. Miki Kujo, who didn't go to class in the afternoon, was sitting on the sofa, playing The Legend of Zelda. On the TV screen, the main character, Link, was fighting with the Golden Centaur. Shoot the centaur's face, ride it, and slash it with his weapon. Then, Link did a backflip, and time freeze. Then, Link did a headshot or time freeze, and time freeze. After the centaur fell, before it turned into black smoke and disappeared, Miki Kujo controlled Link to turn around, switch to the camera, adjust his posture, and take pictures. "You're already so familiar with it?" Toru Watanabe sat down beside her. Miki Kujo immediately lay down and lazily placed her feet on his lap. "How long do you need to do such a simple thing?" Toru Watanabe stroked her smooth black stockings and said with interest, "Let me play with it." Miki Kujo gave him the controller. Toru Watanabe teleported to the centaur near the Thunder Dragon. He didn't use any skills. He just spun around with the sledgehammer, and the centaur died quickly. "Faster than you, right?" Toru Watanabe said proudly. "Only a useless person would use this kind of skill. Besides, you wasted my weapon. Didn't I make this sledgehammer last night? It's yours, not mine." Miki Kujo lifted Toru Watanabe's chin with her stocking foot. "Yes, yes, yes." Toru Watanabe removed her foot and pulled her pleated skirt that slipped down. Although she had safety pants, was in the human observation department, and was curled up on the sofa, she still couldn't expose herself. Ahem. A light cough came from the other side of the table. Miki Kujo revealed a contemptuous smile and deliberately laughed softly. Then, she changed her position and rested her head on Toru Watanabe's lap. Ever since the sports festival, Miki Kujo became more and more fond of doing intimate things with Toru Watanabe in front of Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe focused on controlling Link. He rode on the white horse and held the wife lance in his hand. In the snowstorm, he dueled with a goblin riding a skeleton horse. The wife lance, the spear of light, was the weapon of a female character who liked Link. Many male players, including Toru Watanabe, were reluctant to use it. But Toru Watanabe's situation was well known, so the wife lance was no longer the original one. It was reforged later. After exiting the wind department, the time for the club activities seemed to have been extended. It was no longer like before when he woke up and the sky was already dark. During the process, Rin Kiyono made hot tea. Miki Kujo poured a cup for herself without hesitation. She drank a mouthful and fed Toru Watanabe a mouthful. There was no smoke of war. Toru Watanabe was silent. Under his control, Link became more and more powerful. Grasslands, deserts, mountains, and forests. Everywhere he went, the Hylaru continent was littered with corpses. The dragon became a money-making tool, the centaur became an armory, the light of the master sword never extinguished in his hand illuminated the surroundings. The monsters died over and over again, but Toru Watanabe never went to save the princess. This game was far from over. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. It was very rare. Calculating the time, the human observation department had not had any guests for about 2 months. "Please come in," Rin Kiyono replied calmly. "Sorry to disturb you." With a cautious greeting, Aoya Chiki, Asako Hanada, and Yoshimi Tamamo walked in. Miki Kujo did not react. Toru Watanabe was also not interested in them. He controlled Link to take the electric weapon and electrocute the fish in the lake. Rin Kiyono put the hardcover book in his hand on the table and poured tea for them with disposable cups. "Thank you." The three of them quickly thanked him and then sat down in a row at the beach table. "What's the matter?" Rin Kiyono asked. If it's about me continuing to be the consultant of the wind department, my answer won't change. No, no. Aoi Ichiki quickly denied as if she was afraid of misunderstanding. On the other hand, Tamamo Tommy and Hanada Chauko revealed disappointed expressions. Aoi Ichiki glanced at the sofa, paused, and continued, "It's about me and my." Did the confession fail? No, no, no. Aoi Ichiki was afraid that it would be bad luck. She kept shaking her head. Did you succeed? Rin Kiyono picked up the teacup and blew away the white steam. She carefully placed her soft lips on the teacup and took a small sip. No, no. Then what's going on? Aoi Ichiki explained in a low voice, "I haven't confessed yet." Rin Kiyono was confused. If I remember correctly, you said that you would confess to my Mai as long as you get the national gold medal, right? I'm scared. Stupid. Rin Kiyono put down the teacup and gave a merciless evaluation. You've worked so hard for so long, isn't it to convey your feelings? Why don't you seize the last chance before senior sister leaves tomorrow? Aoi Ichiki was used to being scolded by Rin Kiyono during the music competition, but she still subconsciously shivered. Hanada Chauko hurriedly said, Junior Emu values this too much. She's afraid that if she confesses, she won't even be able to be friends with my Emu. That's why she's afraid of losing my Emu. That's right, that's right. Kiyono-san, don't blame her. Yoshimi Tamamo helped to persuade her. I'm not blaming her. I'm just expressing my opinion on this matter, Rin Kiyono replied with his usual cold expression. The 4 months she spent with the wind department had not made her feel close to them at all. Asako Hanada and Yoshimi Tamamo were both shocked by her expression. They didn't know that Rin Kiyono never lied, or didn't believe that she never lied, so they thought that Rin Kiyono was really angry. Rin Kiyono didn't care what they thought and asked Aoi Ichiki, "You've already missed the opportunity. It's no use regretting it now. What do you plan to do next?" Aoi Ichiki hurriedly said, "There's still one more chance. It's going to be November soon. According to the school's tradition, we're going to have a study trip." "You plan to confess during the study trip?" "Yes." Aoi Ichiki nodded and said, "I've asked a lot of seniors. They said that a lot of couples take advantage of the study trip to deepen their feelings for each other and then walk together. But as far as I know, the location of the study trip is decided by each class. Can you guarantee that you'll go to the same place as senior sister tomorrow?" "No problem. Kiyono-san, don't worry. As long as I tell everyone in class that I want to confess to one of the boys in senior sister tomorrow's class, they'll definitely help me." According to her long experience of observing human beings, high school students were indeed warm-hearted people. Rin Kiyono nodded. "Since you've already decided, why did you ask someone to come to the observation department this time?" "Kiyono-san, do you still remember what we talked about before? Choose a place that Senior Mai likes to confess to." "Yes." "Did you ask around?" "No. Senior Mai rarely talks to me about personal matters. She's always preparing for the national competition." Aoi Ichiki said dejectedly, "So, I want to ask for your help. If it's really not possible, please help me create a chance to confess during the study trip. This time, I'll definitely bring out my courage. Please." Rin Kiyono shook her head. "It's not that I don't want to help you. Every class goes to a different place. There's really nothing I can do. Leave it to me." Yoshimi Tamamo, who was also in Class 1, said, "As for the boys, I just need to say a word, and they'll definitely vote for me. I can't do it, but I'll try my best to make everyone I know go to the same place." Asako Hanada clenched her small fist and said with great effort, "If that's the case." Rin Kiyono's slender fingers rested on her chin as she muttered, "If we can be sure that we're all going to the same place, I'll do my best to help." "Really? Thank you so much, Kiyono-san," Aoi Ichiki said excitedly. Rin Kiyono raised her head and looked straight at her. "No matter how much I help, if you don't have enough awareness, there won't be any progress in this matter. Don't worry." This time I won't back down. After all, this really is the last chance. You can wait until the day of graduation. Toru Watanabe, who was too bored to watch the electric fish, said as his controller was snatched away by Miki Kujo. Aoya Chiki, Asako Hanada, and Yoshimi Tamamo didn't know what to say. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe. You're also a member of the Human Observation Department, so you'll have to come and help when the time comes. Wait, no, I don't have the right to decide where Class 4 is going. Rin Kiyono retracted her gaze as she didn't intend to listen to his explanation. She said to Aoya Chiki, I'll have to trouble you to find out where my seniors class is going tomorrow. Okay. Then we'll take our leave first. Toru Watanabe, no, it's my opinion. The three closed the door as if they didn't hear anything, and the sound of their footsteps gradually faded away. Rin Kiyono opened a hardcover book with her right hand, picked up a teacup with her left hand, and sipped it expressionlessly. As for Miki Kujo, who was lying on her knees, for some reason, she didn't say anything either. With the knowledge Toru Watanabe learned from books such as Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, The 5 Languages of Love, Choosing in Romantic Relationships, The Psychology of Rich Women, and so on, it wasn't that Miki Kujo didn't care, but that she was giving him a chance to make his own choice. If she was satisfied with his choice, then it was fine, but if she wasn't, Toru Watanabe could only say, if we're going to the same place, as a member, I'm obligated to help. If not, then don't blame me for being lazy. The sound of pages flipping, and the sound of buttons on the controller seemed to have satisfied the two ladies for the time being. He thought that after the music competition, he would be able to live a peaceful life on campus, but he was immediately dragged into a storm. On one side was his girlfriend, and on the other side was his best friend. His best friend was a beautiful girl who didn't lose to his girlfriend in any aspect except for her breasts. Most importantly, the relationship between the two of them was very dangerous, and they didn't like each other. It was human nature to be unfaithful, but Toru Watanabe had already chosen Miki Kujo, so he wouldn't mess with other girls. Masahi was forced to do so. Her expression when she invited him to jump down from the clear sky tower was definitely not just for show. For himself, for Masahi, their relationship could only be delayed like this, but he definitely wouldn't take the initiative to do anything out of line. Rin Kiyono was different from Masahi. Toru Watanabe had his own doubts about her. She was one of a kind. Her eyes were beautiful without a trace of hesitation. She stood in her own world, shining brightly. She was special. Just like in the Old Testament, there are many virtuous women, but you surpass all of them. Toru Watanabe respected her, admired her, and sacrificed a lot for her. To be her only friend was something to be happy and proud about. He didn't want to lose this friend. But on the other hand, Miki Kujo was the choice he had made in his life, no matter what the process was. He was in a dilemma. I might as well become a girl myself. Toru Watanabe would occasionally have such thoughts. But that was impossible. He couldn't and wouldn't do that. He wasn't the type to run away from difficulties. In front of Rin Kiyono, he took the initiative to cooperate with Miki Kujo's intimate interactions. He only hoped that she would understand his feelings and not be jealous of Rin Kiyono in the future. Toru Watanabe combed Miki Kujo's hair with his fingers as he watched the game on the television. It was getting dark outside, and the sun had already reached the horizon. It was almost time for school to end. Let's end it. Rin Kiyono closed her book and announced the end of today's club activities. Chapter 153. The next day, lunch break. Watanabe, where are you going? I have something to do. You guys eat first, Toru Watanabe said to Keisuke Saito and left the classroom. He was holding the notes he had written from memory. It was too dangerous to give them to Masahi alone. The best time was during lunch break when there were more people around. As for Miki Kujo, he could just borrow her study notes or music theory notes, but he would probably still be taught a lesson. During lunch break, the school building was full of people. By the corridor window, a man and a woman were chatting in the atrium. On the way to the second grade floor, he saw a group of girls eating sandwiches and drinking milk on the stairs. When he reached the third-grade floor, the atmosphere was obviously different from that of the lower grades. Even during lunch break, they basically stayed in their seats and read. In some classrooms, they even took a nap on their desks to replenish their energy for the afternoon and evening studies. Toru Watanabe walked to the door of the third-grade class 2. In this class, he saw many familiar faces in the playing department. They immediately recognized Toru Watanabe. A senior sister closest to the door walked over, wiping her mouth with a tissue in her hand. She said in surprise, "Kun Watanabe? What are you doing here?" Japan was a country with a strict hierarchy that surprised foreigners. Therefore, if it was not necessary, first-year students would never appear in the third-grade corridor. Before Toru Watanabe could answer, a voice suddenly came from behind her and answered her question. "Watanabe is here to see me." The senior sister was caught off guard and was shocked by the coldness in the voice. She thought that someone was looking for trouble with her. When she turned around and saw that it was Masahi, she was relieved. "So it's you tomorrow. You guys have a chat." The senior sister happily returned to her seat and continued eating her lunch. She did not see Masahi's cold gaze as she watched her leave. After the senior sister sat down, Masahi looked at Toru Watanabe. Her gaze suddenly became gentle. "Why are you looking for me, Toru? How did you know I was looking for you?" Toru Watanabe asked curiously. Did she awaken some amazing ability? "Telepathy," Masahi said, holding her stomach. "Senior sister, the heart is in the upper position." Masahi shook her head gently, still holding her stomach. "She told me. It's telepathy between mother and daughter." Toru Watanabe didn't ask who she was, nor did he want to know what mother and daughter meant. "Senior, this is for you." He handed over the notes. Asamimai took the notes and looked at Toru Watanabe with clear eyes. She said in a soft voice, "Do you want to go to the toilet?" "Today." Toru Watanabe pointed at the notebook. "Don't you want to see what it is?" "What is it?" Masahi responded as if it was an errand. After the national competition, I asked for the bass horn notebook from a judge who admired me. That judge is a professional bass horn player. Kondo Masakawa? Yes, that's him. Masahi was slightly puzzled. She said to herself, or Kondo Masago? I'm not sure, but his surname should be Kondo. Toru Watanabe changed the topic. This notebook is handwritten by me. If someone else wrote it, they wouldn't give it to me. It wouldn't be so new. Masahi blinked her beautiful eyes twice. Then she hugged the notebook to her chest and pressed her soft cherry lips on it. Thank you. As long as senior sister likes it. Tetsumasa Watanabe was about to leave when he suddenly remembered something. By the way, senior sister, where are you going on your study trip? I haven't decided yet. In that case, if senior sister were to be confessed to, what kind of environment and what kind of occasion would you like it to be? For example, would you mind if there were people watching? Masahi tilted her head slightly in confusion. Her long black hair fell over her shoulders. Then, she seemed to have understood something. Her expression changed. Most of her delicate face was buried behind the notebook. Only her clear and charming eyes had turned into beautiful crescents. Toru Watanabe had seen her excited, forgetful, confused, intoxicated, and so on. But he had never seen her so happy. It was very beautiful. Wait, now wasn't the time to be beautiful. Senior sister, don't misunderstand. I don't have any plans to do that. He hurriedly explained. Yes. Masahi nodded slightly. Her face was still buried behind the notebook. But just by looking at her eyes, he knew that she was smiling happily. It's over, it's over. Why did he say so much? Masahi was not listening to his explanation. If he told her about Aoi Ichiki, he might be able to clear up the misunderstanding. But he would never do that. Even if Aoi Ichiki was not close to him. Toru Watanabe was not someone who would reveal other people's secrets. He smiled bitterly and said, "Senior sister, I really didn't. I'm looking forward to it from now on." "No, listen to me. I'll pretend that I don't know. You can do whatever you want. Wait, it's really inside. What kind of underwear do you like? I'll wear it on the day. By the way, can you tell me when? I don't need a specific time." I don't know what senior sister is talking about. Toru Watanabe was expressionless. Masahi looked at Toru Watanabe lovingly and said, "Che, no matter what you say on that day, I'll agree to it." Boys who believed such words were all idiots. Toru Watanabe was sure that if he said, "Senior sister, let's stop here," Masahi would definitely pretend that today's promise never happened. "I'm going back to eat." "Okay." Mayasami hugged the notebook and watched Toru Watanabe's back as he disappeared down the stairs. Toru Watanabe seemed depressed because his surprise was seen through. When she returned to the classroom, a few girls who were close to her asked her, "What's this? Study notes?" "Nothing." Masahi replied coldly as usual and put the notes in a separate compartment in her bag. Toru Watanabe, who lamented that he was bound to make mistakes by speaking too much, weakly returned to the classroom of Class 4. Osamu Kunai and Keisuke Saito were reading a magazine about studying and traveling. "Where did you go?" Osamu Kunai asked when he saw him come in. "Life is difficult. Cherish it." "I don't understand what you're talking about." The two shook their heads in confusion. Toru Watanabe had no intention of explaining. He took the magazine from their hands. The purpose of studying and traveling is to let students learn from the trip. Because of the different content of study, it is divided into several categories. For example, studying history will visit historical sites and learn historical knowledge. This kind of trip will mostly go to Kyoto, Nara, Tokyo, and other cities. In addition, there are forest study trips, agricultural study trips, seaside study trips, and so on to experience nature. But as time goes by, studying and traveling is more like a pure trip. The word study has been abandoned. This is undoubtedly. The following was a long section of social reflection. Toru Watanabe skipped over it and turned 2 pages. Survey of high school students' study travel destinations. Chart. Students in the Kansai region, 2 prefectures and 4 prefectures, Kyushu, Tokyo, and Kashinetsu, Yamanashi, Nagano, and Niigata prefectures, are the top choices for studying and traveling. Among them, Kyoto Prefecture's first destination is Tokyo. Students in Hokkaido. Students in Kyushu. Kyoto is the top choice for students in Tokyo, followed by Kyushu, Nara, and Okinawa. The above is a survey of J-Town's study travel destinations in recent years. Next is an introduction to the famous scenic spots in each region. Watanabe, what do you think? Have you decided where to go? Osamu Kunai asked. As long as it's not Kyoto. Toru Watanabe closed the magazine. The cover was a picture of a group on a school trip in Nara. Why? I really want to see the maples and the ancient ruins. Keisuke Saito took the magazine and flipped to the page about Kyoto. Is it because Kyoto is too old-fashioned? In order to show your personality, you're deliberately choosing a city that no one cares about? Osamu Kunai guessed. Show my personality. Do you think I'm you? The only reason why Toru Watanabe didn't want to go to Kyoto was because he had promised Kumiko that he would give her a math notebook the next time they met, while eating udon noodles the night before the national competition. The next time they met was when Kumiko came to Tokyo after he graduated from high school. At that time, it didn't matter if she forgot about the notebook or not. The key was that it would be useless, so he could justifiably not write it. If he went to Kyoto for this study trip, what if he bumped into her? Wait, the magazine said that Kyoto Prefecture's first choice for study trips was Tokyo. Kumiko might come to Tokyo? If he had known, he wouldn't have added line. He hoped that Kumiko wouldn't contact him and say something like he treated her to udon noodles last time, so he had to return the favor and treat her to ramen or something like that. Although it was a pleasure to have friends from afar, if she wanted to organize her math notebook, then forget it. Silently praying to Kiyono in his heart, Toru Watanabe asked, "Which city are you two going to go to?" "Kyoto," Keisuke Saito said without thinking. "Feinai City." This was Osamu Kunai's answer. Even with Toru Watanabe's memory, he only knew that the city was in Niigata Prefecture, but he didn't know the specific location and what characteristics it had. "Ikeda-san, where do the girls want to go?" Toru Watanabe asked Ikeda Kazumi, who was looking at the phone screen with the girls in front. When Ikeda Kazumi heard his question, she asked the other girls in a low voice for their opinions and said, "Nara. I want to see deer, and I also want to eat deer hot pot and sashimi. You guys like deer too much." Osamu Kunai thought he made a good joke. "None of your business. Deer are meant to be admired and eaten." Ikeda Kazumi replied angrily, thinking that Osamu Kunai was mocking them for not having the kindness and weakness of girls. "Well, I don't see it," Toru Watanabe said, "but it sounds cruel." "Kun Watanabe, you're so annoying. How can we be cruel?" The girls giggled happily. Keisuke Saito patted Osamu Kunai's shoulder to comfort him. After a simple sampling, Toru Watanabe learned that there were serious differences in study and travel locations, and Kyoto didn't seem to be a popular choice, so he was relieved. As for whether he would go to the same place as Miyasahi and the others, he could only leave it to fate. Because of Kiyono and Kujo, he didn't dare to deliberately influence the class choice. Only by letting nature take its course could he fish in troubled waters in the struggle between the two ladies. Class is starting. The history teacher walked in with a book. Everyone returned to their seats and sat down. "First group, come up." Toru Watanabe walked up with a USB flash drive and opened the girls' PowerPoint presentation. He had to make it clear that this matter had nothing to do with whether he was handsome or not. During a group project, if the girls did the PowerPoint presentation, the boys were responsible for reading from the podium and answering the teacher's questions. If the boys did it, the girls would go up. Because the last class ended abruptly, our group was very curious about the "I killed people in my sweet dreams" that the teacher said, so we chose Chow Chow as the subject. First of all, regarding the "I killed people in my sweet dreams" point, our group has the following thoughts. First, Chow Chow himself had the experience of assassinating Dong Zhuo when he was asleep. Second, Chow Chow now has great power, and his position is not stable yet, so he set it to establish his prestige. The boys were very interested in historical anecdotes, so they listened very carefully. The girls listened to Toru Watanabe's soft voice and stared at his face openly. The history teacher stroked the stubble on his chin and nodded occasionally at the fancy PowerPoint presentation. Time passed like this, and in the blink of an eye, it was Friday, October 30th. Before school ended, Aona Koizumi held a class meeting and talked about the study trip. The trip will start next Tuesday and last for 4 days and 3 nights. On the first day, the whole class will work together. On the second day, each group will work separately. On the third day, individuals will be free. On the last day, which is Friday, we have to go back to school early in the morning, and then school will be over.
Oh.
That's great. If we count Saturday and Sunday, then we can play for 6 days in a row. Looking at the excited students, Aona Koizumi reminded them, "Play as much as you want, but don't forget to study hard when you're studying." "Yes," everyone replied in a relaxed tone. Next is the location. This time, we can only choose within the country. Only second-year students can go overseas. Before Aona Koizumi finished speaking, she was interrupted by cheers from the class next to her. Class 3 must have just found out about the study trip schedule from the teacher. Aona Koizumi smiled and waited for the class next to her to quiet down before continuing. This time, first-year students can only choose within the country. The voting will take place next Monday morning. Also, because the Blowing Club won the National Gold Medal and did well in the mock exam, the principal has decided to waive the travel expenses. Everyone only needs to bring pocket money and accommodation. Instead of being grateful, they scolded the principal for being stingy. Everyone felt injustice for Toru Watanabe, saying shameless things like how he worked so hard that he could at least reimburse Class 4's accommodation expenses. The classroom was in a mess. Koizumi Aonai had to say, "Quiet," several times before everyone calmed down from their excitement. "This time, we will be outside for 3 nights. Remember to bring a change of clothes. Also, you are not allowed to wear private clothes. You must wear school uniforms or school sportswear. Yes, after you go out, you must pay attention to your words and actions. You are wearing Kanagawa High School's uniform, so don't cause trouble for the school. Yes. Finally, tomorrow is Halloween. The school rules. You must not go to Shibuya. Do you understand?" "Yes. Why?" Toru Watanabe's voice was very abrupt in the uniform, "Yes." There was nothing funny, but the girls in the class laughed and looked back at him. Chapter 154. Because of the class meeting, classes ended at different times. When Toru Watanabe stepped into the activity classroom of the Human Observation Department, Rin Kiyono was already making tea. After the weather suddenly turned cold, it had become her habit to read while drinking tea. Miki Kujo wasn't here today. To be precise, she wasn't here most of the time. She was already so busy in high school. Toru Watanabe was pessimistic about the two of them having 4 children in the future. Perhaps after giving birth to a child, Miki Kujo felt that it was too much of a waste of time and forgot about the rest. However, this kind of thing depended on both parties. Thinking about all kinds of messy things, Toru Watanabe closed the door and sat down at the beach table. The beach table was old and durable. Perhaps the reason why the school didn't get rid of it was because it looked like an antique? The rectangular table had a wide side that leaned against the wall. Rin Kiyono sat on the long side closest to the window. Toru Watanabe's seat was on the diagonal line furthest from Rin Kiyono. Toru Watanabe took out funny Spanish quotes from the bookshelf and flipped to the place where he read it last time. "Here." "Thank you." Toru Watanabe took the teacup from Rin Kiyono. When the white steam was blown away, he could see the tea leaves that looked like musical notes floating in the water. It was impossible to hear what kind of music was being composed through the tea. After drinking 2 sips of tea, Toru Watanabe said in Spanish, "I've learned a lot of Spanish recently. Which foreign language should I learn next?" "French." Rin Kiyono didn't raise her head. She looked at the book in her hand and also answered in Spanish. "Why?" "Spanish comes from the Latin family. If you know Spanish, you can understand about 60% of Portuguese, 60% of Italian, and 40% of French. French is one of the 6 official languages of the United Nations." "That makes sense." Toru Watanabe nodded. "But tell me, why should I learn so many languages? I can speak Chinese, Japanese, English, and Spanish now. Even if I can't speak all of them, I can at least communicate with 2/3 of the people in the world. Compared to language, what you need to do more is how to prevent Alzheimer's. You have to learn it yourself. I did it to surpass you. But we're friends now, the best friends in the world. There's no other friend more intimate than us, so there's no need to compete, right?" Rin Kiyono laughed contemptuously and did not answer. "French, right? I'll start learning tomorrow." After saying that, Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono with vigilance. "You only know 7 languages now. Don't secretly learn the 8th language while I'm learning it." "Don't worry, I'm not interested in language." "Then why did you learn so many things?" "Someone taught me at home, and the content was simple, so I learned it while I was at it." Rin Kiyono's slender fingers pinched the footer of the book and gracefully turned the page. "It's good to live in a rich family." "Aren't you living in a rich family now, Toru Watanabe-san?" "I've told you many times, my happiest time is every month." The sound of knocking on the door interrupted Toru Watanabe. He looked back at the door and said, "Please come in." Unexpectedly, the people who came in were Osamu Kanai and Keisuke Saito. "Oh, it's you. What's the matter?" Toru Watanabe asked. Keisuke Saito spread his hands. I don't know. I was trying to show my masculine charm at the sports festival and cultural festival in order to make Shirori confess to me in the club. This guy Kunai rushed in and brought me here. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono and found that she did not have any doubts. He asked her in surprise, "You also know about heartbeat memories?" Heartbeat memories? What's that? It seemed that Rin Kiyono was just not interested in Keisuke Saito's matters. It's a beautiful girl training game, Toru Watanabe explained. Beautiful girl training? How should I explain it to you? For example, Toru Watanabe shined brightly at the cultural festival, performed outstandingly at the sports festival, and got first place in the country for his grades. Seino Rin, who used to ignore him, gradually fell in love with him and confessed to him at graduation. After listening to Toru Watanabe's vivid explanation, Rin Kiyono's expression was as calm as usual. But Toru Watanabe did not know if it was an illusion, but he felt that there was a murderous look in her eyes. He looked away and looked at Osamu Kunai. What's wrong with Kunai? He finally couldn't stand the insults of the baseball coach and came to the two of us to beat him up to vent his anger? I suggest that we change the time tonight. It's not good to hit a teacher during the day. How is that possible? Osamu Kunai objected loudly, and then suddenly said in a very low voice, "When I went downstairs, I suddenly saw a flyer from the Human Observation Department." What flyer? Keisuke Saito was puzzled. As soon as Osamu Kunai said that, Toru Watanabe immediately remembered. To help you achieve love. If you need it, please go to the Human Observation Department on the 5th floor. We will keep your secret. Please believe in our ability. BY, Human Observation Department. That was the flyer that Rin Kiyono put up to make him fall in love with her. However, from beginning to end, only Aoi Ichiki was fooled. Toru Watanabe looked at Rin Kiyono in confusion. You still haven't removed it? Why should I remove it? Toru Watanabe nodded, indicating that he had no objections. Osamu Kunai ignored Keisuke Saito's confusion and continued, "If it was written by another society, I would definitely treat it as a prank." However, Watanabe, you're a member of the Human Observation Department, and the other one is Kiyono, so Wait a minute, Toru Watanabe interrupted him. Are you here to confess to her while you're on a study trip? Osamu Kunai hesitantly replied with an Not bad, Koi. Keisuke Saito slapped Osamu Kunai's shoulder. You're a man. You have a backbone. I support you. Toru Watanabe was speechless. Osamu Kunai, Aoi Ichiki, Mayasahi, and then himself. What was wrong with this world? Let's just destroy it. Please, Kiyono-sama, this is my only request today. It's another love story, and it's a boy against a girl. It's even more valuable than Itsuki's, Rin Kiyono said softly, then looked up at Osamu Kunai and said, "Please tell me about your situation." Yes. Osamu Kunai replied in the tone of a baseball coach. Please keep your voice down. I can hear you. Yes. Osamu Kunai took some time to break free from Rin Kiyono's pressure. I like Aoi Ichiki from Year 1 Class 3. We've played games together before. During the sports festival, she was rehearsing on the field, and I even chatted with her. Anyway, I think she's very cute, and I want to date her. Please help me. Seeing Osamu Kunai bow, Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe in confusion. You didn't tell him? That's Aoi Ichiki's personal matter. How could I tell him? Rin Kiyono nodded, which meant, okay, you can leave now. Koi-san, let me tell you a piece of unfortunate news. What is it? Osamu Kunai looked up with confusion. Itsuki already has someone she likes, and she's also preparing to confess during her study trip. Osamu Kunai was stunned. I'm sorry, we can't help you. Rin Kiyono's tone didn't have the heart to shatter the boy's dreams of love. Toru Watanabe also said, Give it up, Koi-san. How could? Osamu Kunai said after a while. Don't give up, Osamu Kunai. Keisuke Saito grabbed Osamu Kanai's shoulder. So what if you have someone you like? It's not like you're getting married. Aoi Ichiki is working hard for her own happiness, and you're going to give up? Don't tell me that you're a coward who doesn't even have the courage to confess when you're able to enter Koshien. Yes, you're right. Osamu Kanai's eyes lit up. Success or failure isn't important. What's important is whether or not you've done your best. Thank you, coach. It should be the coach from the baseball club who said, "Bastard, idiot, idiot," to him. Of course, Toru Watanabe was sure that the coach wasn't talking about dating. Also, what's up with this guy? He would rather play games than go on dates with girls, but now he's saying such hot-blooded words. Toru Watanabe looked at Keisuke Saito in confusion. Not bad, right? I just learned this line from a dating game. Keisuke Saito said proudly, "This is what the male protagonist says when he's discouraged and doesn't dare to confess to the female protagonist." What kind of game is that? He felt that it's a story that's suitable to take place in winter. But, Saito, Aoi Ichiki likes girls. I think it's best to wait for Itsuki classmate to finish her confession and see if she succeeds. If she fails, Koi, you can confess then. It's safer this way. Toru Watanabe suggested. Whether it's Aoi Ichiki or Osamu Kanai, they're destined to fail. After knowing that Aoi Ichiki likes girls, Toru Watanabe has been trying to persuade Osamu Kanai to give up. But because he can't say it too directly, it's not effective. Love doesn't need to be safe. Strike first and gain the upper hand. A heart that likes her is enough. Keisuke Saito was as passionate as the head of a pyramid scheme. This is just a metaphor. After all, Toru Watanabe has never been to a pyramid scheme before. Naturally, he doesn't know what the head of a pyramid scheme is like. But in his impression, it's like a man holding a microphone, waving his fist while shouting, "I'll succeed. I can do it. I can do it." That's not wrong. Rin Kiyono nodded in agreement for some reason. What nonsense are you talking about? Toru Watanabe looked at him in disbelief. Keisuke Saito is fine, but you know whether Itsuki likes boys or girls. Rin Kiyono ignored his gaze and said directly, "Isn't there a situation where a despicable girl deliberately reveals who she likes in order to eliminate her rival? That way, the girl will be too embarrassed to say that she likes the boy. Even if the boy confesses, she will hesitate to accept. Are we talking about the same thing, Kiyono-san? I think it's better to wait." What's there to wait for? This time it's Osamu Kanai himself. He said excitedly, "There's not much time left in the first year of high school. If I don't fall in love, my life will be over." Your life is far too short. Please be sure to live until the second year of high school. No, please keep living. Toru Watanabe had a headache and drank a big mouthful of tea. After thinking for a while, he asked, "What's the location? The place of study trip? Even if you know where the third class will go, how can you guarantee that our class will go there?" "This is the reason why I came to Watanabe." Osamu Kanai said, "As long as you tell Ikeda-san where you want to go and ask them for help, they will definitely be willing." That's right, no girl can refuse Watanabe. Keisuke Saito also said. "Isn't there one?" Toru Watanabe pointed at Rin Kiyono. Rin Kiyono rolled her eyes at him. Although he was still in the mood to joke, Toru Watanabe's heart was already bitter. If the news that he asked the girls to help him vote spread to Mayasahi, it would create an opportunity for him to confess to her. If it spread to Miki Kujo's ears, it would mean that he was biased towards Rin Kiyono. But if he didn't help, it would be a good friend's plea. And it was a good friend who was planning to confess to a girl. "Koi, I misunderstood you. Our lives really end at the first year of high school." He might as well say that Aoi Ichiki liked girls. But he really couldn't do that. That was someone else's privacy. For his own sake, telling other people's privacy to others was really not something a Tokyo handsome man should do. Aoi Ichiki herself didn't want more people, especially boys, to know about this matter. Otherwise, she wouldn't have lied to the class and said that she was confessing to a boy in my Asahi's class. If Osamu Kunai was someone who could keep a secret, it wouldn't be a problem to tell him. But he had a good relationship with the senior in the baseball club. Usually, they would talk about relationship problems during training. The following scene might happen. Koi, didn't you say that you were going to confess to Aoya Chiki? Don't say it, senior. What's wrong? Could it be that he was scared? Or were you rejected? You can say that I was rejected. Why? What's the reason? There's nothing to say. Rejection means rejection. Don't. What's our relationship? Tell senior. I promise I won't tell anyone else. Okay, but you can't tell anyone else. Don't worry. That was about it. Then, senior would tell the female manager, and the female manager would tell the female manager, and the female manager would tell everyone in the football club. In the end, the whole school would know that Aoya Chiki liked girls. Toru Watanabe didn't care if the whole school knew or not, but at least he couldn't let the secret leak from him. Watanabe, please. Osamu Kunai said and bowed to the hesitant Toru Watanabe. Watanabe, just help Koi. Keisuke Saito persuaded. Okay. Toru Watanabe said helplessly, but I have to report to my Kausen-san about communicating with girls. If she doesn't agree. Watanabe. Please. This is my first time pursuing a girl. That's right. I'm just telling the girls in the class where I want to go. Kujo-san will definitely understand. It would be strange if she understood. Toru Watanabe looked at Guajing Shio, who was looking at him pitifully. Even though he knew that Guajing Shio was pretending, he still nodded and said, Okay. For your love, I will go to hell. Great. Then I'll leave it to you, Watanabe. Osamu Kunai waved his fist excitedly. All right, there's one more thing I need to ask of Kiyono-san and Watanabe. Say it all. Toru Watanabe didn't care about anything else. You're so smart and popular. You must have received a lot of love letters, so I want to ask you to help me design the lines for my confession. Can't you just say, I like you? Toru Watanabe was puzzled. No, Watanabe, you said it so well when you confessed to Kujo-san. Help me think about it carefully. How can I think about it in such a short amount of time? That's right, this isn't urgent. There's still 3 days. Anyway, I'll leave it to you too. Saito, let's go and find out where the third class went. Don't worry about this. There are 2 members of the third class in the computer department. We'll go directly to them. There are also members of the baseball club. If there's no other way, we'll go to the other clubs to ask. Even if it's a dungeon seat, we'll ask them today. I'll accompany you to the dungeon seat. Good brother. The 2 of them had their arms around each other's shoulders. They were like middle-aged brothers who were ready to dig up ancient tombs and dream of getting rich. After they left, Rin Kiyono said with a smile, I thought you would tell them about Imitsuki-san liking girls. Am I such an unprincipled person? Toru Watanabe took a sip of tea and accidentally ate a leaf. This is one of your only strengths, Rin Kiyono said with a rare tone of praise. My greatest strength is that I have countless strengths. Rin Kiyono didn't comment. Do you have any plans regarding their confession? As for Imitsuki-san, the main thing is to find out where she likes to be confessed to, and help her create some time alone so that no one else knows about her confession to Ma. I mean, Suki-senpai. You don't need to change the way you address her. I can faintly guess that the 2 of you have a good relationship. Rin Kiyono lightly blew on her teacup. I feel like you're scary. I'm not scary at all. Rin Kiyono looked at Toru Watanabe with an icy gaze. What about Koi-san? You're his good friend. What are his strengths? Is there any use in talking about his strengths? Imitsuki-san likes girls. As for how to address someone, the only ones I really want to address by name are you, Miki and Kiyono. Do you think that those words will make anyone happy? Imitsuki-san came to talk to me a few times when you were rejected by the Wind Instrument Club. Not only does she like girls, but she's also interested in boys. Wow, that's amazing. How is that amazing? No, I just wanted to say it. Vice President, we're in the middle of a meeting, so let's cut to the chase. Okay, President. Toru Watanabe paused for a moment. In order to avoid wasting time and misunderstanding, I'd like to ask a question. Ask away. At this meeting, are we discussing how to address Suki-senpai, or are we discussing the matter of Aoi Ichiki and Osamu Kunai? What do you think? I don't know. Tell me about Osamu Kunai's strengths. Rin Kiyono poured herself another cup of hot tea. Toru Watanabe handed her a cup. Because the cup was almost empty, he even drank the tea leaves. Rin Kiyono didn't have any intention of pouring him a cup, so she directly passed the pot to him. Okay. Toru Watanabe poured himself a cup. His strengths. During the following club activities, the two of them discussed some strategies, including how to make Aoi Ichiki understand Osamu Kunai's strengths, the timing and lines of Osamu Kunai's confession, etc. When the sky darkened and it was time for school to end, the two of them locked the classroom door and left the school building. At the field, there was a group of crows wandering around. Their gait was steady, as if they were still the masters of Kamigawa. It's getting colder. The cold night wind blew into Toru Watanabe's collar. Rin Kiyono nodded and carefully wrapped a scarf around her neck. Her snow-white face was wrapped in a handsome scarf. She was simply too adorable. Kiyono-san, you're so cute. You've said this too many times. Too many times, so you don't feel anything? Watanabe-san, you're very handsome. Aha, Toru Watanabe repeatedly recalled this sentence. I've heard many people say that I'm handsome, but when it comes from Kiyono-san, who never lies, it still makes me happy. No, I can't be the only one happy. I have to think of a way to make you happy too. Rin Kiyono didn't continue this boring topic. Red and yellow leaves covered the entire path downhill to Shiya Station, and the colorful path looked like a carpet. Yoshimi Tamamo is cute wearing a scarf, Asako Hanada is cute wearing a scarf, Misaki Komatsu is cute wearing a scarf, Sato Ruko is cute wearing a scarf. Toru Watanabe listed out a long list of girls in the blowing club. Lies. Not a single word is true. What are you trying to say? Rin Kiyono frowned. Before Toru Watanabe could finish, he added, Rin Kiyono is cute wearing a scarf. Rin Kiyono pulled her scarf up as if she was cold. Your friend didn't misjudge you, you have the talent to write love letters. That depends on who I'm writing to. If I write a love letter, I'll definitely be thinking about Miki Kujo, and it won't feel right. Is that so? Rin Kiyono replied uninterestedly as she pulled down the scarf covering her mouth. Reiza-san, you're so cute. Although you're telling the truth, why do I feel like you're playing with me? That's not true. I respect you. Lies. Wait, let me explain. Hey, don't go. I was wrong. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.